Hello, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Jam Fete Live on a Tuesday. It's still 12. It's Wednesday now in France, but on a Tuesday, we could say. And I have with
It is
me
Tuesday.
the analytical mind of Jermaine. Welcome. I have with
It
me
is Tuesday. Well, blessings. Best to be here. Best to be
analytical
here.
mind of Jermaine. Welcome. I have with
It is Tuesday. Well, blessings. Best to be here. Yeah, so I'm here. I guess we'll have to do a recap of what happened and what took place.
yeah, getting us like feedback.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
definitely. The games came and went. They came, they saw, they come. They're just a memory in our minds. A lot of talking points, a lot of talking points. I'm trying to see if
Mm-hmm.
Latoya got my message.
Okay, let me try to message
Uh,
her.
don't tell me I'm going to be struggling with connection problems tonight again. Mm, let's get working. All right, so good evening, guys. Welcome. We're talking Olympics tonight. We're looking back at those who did well and those who disappointed. I call it the winners and losers of the Olympics. Just want to greet the M&W family who's with us. Greetings.
Greetings, greetings, greetings.
Uh, I don't know what's going on with my computer, but we're going to proceed. A lot of talking points, especially in the last 2 days. Uh, we saw more medals for Jamaica, the women's sprinters doing well again. And, well, I don't know if it was an anticlimax, but certainly not what we were expecting in the men's sprint relay. So we're going to talk about all of those. We're going to talk about all of those, but let us recap. Let us recap. Maybe where I would like to start is the 400. Stefan McPherson, she didn't run the relay,
Which was expected.
and I think you were saying that she was not going to be in a state of mind to run the relay. Is it that? I know I'm reading that she's injured. Is it just a PR stunt now to say that she's injured to try to clean up a bit of that mess, or she is injured? You think?
All right, I'm giving my opinion. Right? I know if people from all camps or certain people, if they hear me now, they'll probably be saying, "How dare you say that?" and whatever. But I'm just giving my opinion. Um, I have no, I have no belief to think that she is really injured. I think it's just a matter of she just lost her race, and she's been devastated. I think you being in the shape of your life, not having probably three of the best runners in the world in the event, with Nasir, Mboma, and Masalingi, the two Namibians, as well as Nasir, who represents Bahrain. Alison Felix is not at her best. You are the clear number two in the world. Once Shawnee Miller shows up and is in shape, that I mean, okay, so that's why I should be joining soon. But once you show up in that race, you're supposed to be there, right? And she failed, and that's a situation. And I think that level of disappointment, you saw her on the track afterwards, grimacing in disappointment and crying, and all of that stuff. Um, it really, mentally, I think she's shot. I think she's shot. What I'm hearing was that she was contemplating retirement prior to today, prior to the Olympics, and they worked on her and stuff like that, and she's back where she's supposed to be, and she just gave it away. I said it before. I said two Jamaicans that I had to medal gave away their medals. That's Natoya Gould and Stephanie Ann McPherson. So I don't. I'm not going to say she's not injured because that's what's out. So you can't not go against it. But she's not injured. She's not.
I
She's
mean,
just she's mentally devastated.
but could then, I don't know who works with the team, but I saw that if I were the team coach, especially for, even though the 400 is considered a sprint nowadays, but she would have seen Natalia Gold making that error in the 800. And I mean, the closest race to a 400 is probably the 800. So, well, she says she doesn't watch the races. Okay, fine, I can do that too. But do they not have people who talk to them? Like, isn't that what a coach is supposed to do? Like, this is an error that was done that cost Gold
Natalia's final.
A title.
Natalia's final was 2 days before, I think it was, that Stephanie. The day before Stephanie's final, you saw she ran a perfect semi-final, getting to 49.34. And you go, whoa, if she repeats, put it into context. Put it into context. With gas in the tank. Put it into perspective. Had Stephanie run exactly what she ran in the final, in the semi-final, she would have gotten the silver medal. That's all she had to do, just run by the same race. She would have gotten the silver medal. You know, so you're looking at that and you're saying to yourself, I don't think somebody would have had to tell her that. Your experience, you're 32 years old, you've been doing this for a while. You've been around the scene. You know exactly what's going down. You should know within your mind that, hey, listen, just do what I did. You know, Natalia, I can understand Natalia choking because it was the first she's ever been in that position where she's a medal contender, right? Absolutely. With Stephanie, this is not her first time. And at the same time, she is more experienced and her major competitors are not there. You know, it's not like, all right, like I said,
let me just say hello to Kenisha. Who wants to join us? Big up yourself, Kenisha. Welcome. Yeah.
Big up, Kenisha.
As far
Natalia.
As well, watching like a TV there.
Natalia, big up yourself. Natalia, to get that silver medal, would have had to run her PB. Stephanie, to get that silver medal, would have had to run the race that she ran in the semi. Just that. There's two different contexts. So Natalia would have had to run her PB, which we know she was capable of doing. She just gave away her medal. But Stephanie just had to run back her race. Just ran the exact same race she ran in the semifinals. Should have been the silver medalist. She choked, and there's a thing that affects me with it is, even when an athlete is injured, you will usually see them give some interview, make a statement, something. Stephanie has said nothing. That is not just being physically injured. Because even if somebody's physically injured, they could have come out and said, she has done nothing. She has done no interview. She has made no social media post. Her people have said nothing. Nobody has said anything other than she's injured. So there's nothing coming directly from her.
But she came fourth. She didn't come last or even, she came fourth. Okay, you messed up. But you have a chance at getting a medal in the 4x4 because it's obvious USA is not at full strength. So
no, hold on. Stop you there, sir. That USA team is a star-studded all-star team.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, it's not all quarterfinals. They had to feed people from different.
No, it's not a feeding. No, before the race began, before the championships began, everybody knew that was the four that was going to run the finals. We were just hoping that the rules would not have allowed them to put that four together. But when you have two runners who've just run 51 low in the 4 hurdles, you translate that you're getting sub 50 400 meter times. You realize that the person who won the American trials and made it to the finals didn't even run the heats. Kunera Hayes, she didn't even run the heats of the 4x4 because we knew Allyson Felix was always going to give you a fire leg. That's just her thing on a 4x4.
Yeah, but it's not the bulldozer team of the US with
it was but the thing is, because
what I'm saying is that she could have regrouped herself and said, okay, I messed up there. Maybe we can put a challenge to the US. Not necessarily win, but that's a clear medal for her.
We've never seen that from Stephanie. Remember, we can go back to 2017, when she did not run the finals and they had to put in Anisha McCucking at the last minute, which Anisha McCucking ended up pulling her hamstring, just forcing her into early retirement. because of that, because Stephanie decided that she was not going to run because of whatever it was between her and Shericka. So even that, you've seen this before, and that's why I said I can't hold on to it's an injury because we've seen this behavior from Stephanie multiple times. So I cannot go and say.
I didn't say that Shericka was going to run the 4x4, so you all only 1 point there.
No, here's the thing about Shericka running the 4x4. It's not just that. Shericka has not trained for the 4x4 for 2 years. She has not run a 4x4 in 2 years, a 400 in 2 years. But on top of that, Shericka was called the night of, which would be the early morning Japan time.
Right.
And said, listen, Stephanie's not going to be able to run the 4x4. We're going to need you to pull in. Because here's the thing. If Shericka wasn't there, you'd have sent out an inexperienced team. You needed Shericka. You needed her experience. It was that experience that got us that bronze medal. Because it was inexperience all the way around.
Right.
They needed an experienced campaigner to run that 400. Because they could have filled in Stacey and they had to have the experience. And that's why they pushed her and said, listen, come and run the 4x4, and she took one for the team. Shericka is a different. I was saying it to somebody over the weekend, and I even said it to Latoya, that Shericka is a different kind of dog. You know, that warrior that I'm going out there. She's that kind of person. Stephanie isn't. You don't teach that. You can't train somebody to have that fight in them. You're born with that. And Shericka, realizing the situation her team was in, having no experience. Watch this. This is Russell's first time running the 4x4 in a finals. McGregor's first time even making a Jamaica team. Candice McLeod's first time making a Jamaica team. Then you're going to send out another first time and Stacey and Williams to run? That makes no sense. You need some experience. And that's why they call Shericka. And Shericka told you, Shericka said, listen, I had nothing. I've not been running 400.
She wasn't preparing for it. And I mean, you could see that she couldn't push, but we couldn't ask anything else of her. Apart from maybe just bringing the stick around, to be honest.
Exactly. And she still ended up running the fastest leg on the 4x4 without no 400-meter run. She still ran the fastest leg.
What makes for McPherson good? Because I mean, running your PB is not a time to talk about retirement.
I think she has some more Diamond League, but she has the Diamond League. The Diamond League is still around. She might run a few races. Maybe she's mentally shut and saying, you know what, I can't do anymore. The World Championships next year is not going to be easy. Right? The World Championships next year is not going to be easy. Because you're talking about, I think they're coming back, and, this was her chance. And I don't know if she's going to have that mental capacity. Who I am looking for from Jamaica next year is a Candice McLeod. This was her first taste of international running, getting fifth, running a PB almost every round. Getting to that, I think she gets more experience and she comes out next year with a bang. Will she be in that shape to give you the times that are going to win? No, but she could sneak in and maybe medal, and you never know what happens.
So that's definitely
you never know what happens.
Candice McLeod and
Candice. I think I will say that she would probably be one of the biggest losers from Jamaica, McPherson as well as Natoya Gould. They'll probably be the two biggest losers. I think another one of the biggest winners was Christopher Taylor.
Absolutely.
Christopher Taylor. I still do think that he should drop down in distance, but still run enough 400 meters to qualify him for a 4x4.
Well, he seemed to suggest that it's on the cards for him to do a 400 double.
I don't think he's going to be able to have the legs to do the 200-400 double at the senior level, because that's not easy to do overall. But to do it against guys who are running 19 lows and 19 sevens, 19 sixes, and guys who are running sub 44, it doesn't make any sense. And we already know he has a problem doing one. What I will say is, and I shared this with somebody the other day, I said, go on YouTube and type in Christopher Taylor 100 meter. Christopher Taylor runs a damn near perfect 100 meters.
Right.
And his last 100 meter was 3-4 years ago. And he runs a perfect 100 meter start. He has a great start, and because of the strength, he gets in. So I think if he looks at himself and he says, listen, I can probably run 9.8 right now. We saw Fred Curley do it. We've seen Shericka Jackson drop down and run very fast. I think in his mind, he's probably saying, I could probably be one of the better 100 meter runners in the world, 1-2 runners. But do enough 400s to keep you eligible to run the 4x4, because he is a key component of that 4x4. But I said it to somebody, just imagine Chris Taylor on a backstretch for Jamaica in a 4x1. With his speed and his strength on that backstretch, is murder. It's murder.
You know,
So I think
for finals now, he's gonna be like, okay, I was right all along. I'm in a final. I'm 21. So you know, the event is there for me to conquer. That's what he's gonna be thinking of.
no, but he knows. Listen, there comes a point when you say I've conquered something versus the reality. If Chris Taylor goes into training and realizes I'm not jumping 43 seconds, he knows he ain't gonna medal.
Yeah.
That's not a question. But if he goes in and says, listen, I'm running 44.4, 44.3, coach, let me run a 100 meter and see how fast I can go in training. And says he goes in training and drops with no 100 meter background and drops 9.8 in training. He's going to say to himself, oh, with that strength that I have built up over the years, nobody's supposed to beat me over the shorter sprint.
Yeah.
Right? Because like I said, he's the one person that doesn't.
What happened to Usain Bolt? Bolt discovered the 100 by accident, you could say, right?
Basically. And Chris Taylor would probably be that person who doesn't have to fix a lot with his 100 meter, because like I said, he's a brilliant starter. He's a very good starter. I mean, he's not too tall like the regular 400 meter runners. He gets out of the block really well. And he runs a very good time. So if he can do that at the next level and say drops 9.8 in training, and then say, you know what, I'm going to run some more 100s, and all of a sudden he's in that 9.8 range, you're looking at him and Obdique Seville being two of the key components of that 4x1, and you start thinking, okay, can we get two more decent persons? And then all of a sudden we're back to where we were a few years ago.
Nobody really dominating or looking to dominate the 100 anytime soon.
Yeah, there's no. I mean, Christian Coleman is there from the US, but I think he can be challenged. There's no polarizing figure like Usain Bolt was. Like we all know back in the day when Usain Bolt was at his at his godlike level, it was okay. Here's what we're running for second place.
Right.
Right. That was the trend. Okay, we're running for second.
Yeah.
And Taisugay has said it before that race still haunts him. When Brooke Bolt ran 9.58, he says that race still haunts him because he did everything he could and him just couldn't catch him. There's nothing he had left. And him just couldn't catch him. So things like those, you go, okay, you know what? But for me, Chris Taylor is one of the winners of the Olympics for Jamaica. One of the winners.
4x1, definitely a loser. We weren't expecting anything. Then we started to expect something. And then, I mean, Curly Girl, welcome. Moy, welcome.
Here's the thing about the 4x1.
Were we wrong to have expected anything but what we got?
The 4x1, I think our expectations peaked in the semifinals. When we saw the semifinals and we were like, wow. We lost because of faulty button changes, nothing more. Because we had to be near perfect to medal. Had we been perfect, we probably would have medaled. So that is something that you go, all right, it's not a lose, it's not a win. Because the reality is, prior to the semifinals, we never even expected Jamaica to make the finals of the 4x1. The fact that we got to the finals and were tipped to be a medalist, we finished 5th, not necessarily the best place to finish, but with the faulty button exchanges, we ran only 200 of a second slower than we did in the finals. With all the faulty button changes and whatever. So you're looking at it and you're saying, okay, there's something to go by on the future, because you're looking at Minzy and you're looking at Obdique Seville. Like I said, you add a Chris Taylor to that. You're seeing, what's his name, Jazeel Murphy coming back to good shape. And you never know, Taekwondo Tracy probably coming back into fitness. You're looking and then you're saying to yourself, okay, we probably do have a good 4x1. for next World Championships or even down the line in Paris. You start thinking that because you never know. 3 years down the line, who is to tell you? Remember, we still have the likes of a Nigel Ellis who could also run. We're looking at Sachin Dennis in years to come. So we're looking and we're saying the pool is there. Remember, Champs hasn't been, we're still producing great times at the junior level. It's the transition. And like I said, when you look at an Oblique Seville and you say this person still has work, and you're looking at a Chris Taylor and you're going, okay, he's a good addition. There's also the ability to add Akeem Bloomfield to that 4x1. Believe it or not. Right? And as I said, Minzy going into good shape, Jazeel Murphy coming back into good shape, Taekwondo Tracy coming into shape. You start to saying, okay, we may not be the dominant, okay, Jamaica is going into the 4x1, they're going to win, but we can make some noise, you know, until we get back to that stage. And we're going to get back to that stage.
Thank you, Moon Goddess Treasures, saying that hit the thumbs up for both of you. Thank you so much for that. 4x1 women.
Bless up.
It's a win, but we didn't get the world record. Got the national record. It was a loss.
I wouldn't consider it a loss, and I'm going to tell you why. The fact that I found out that they never practiced until after the 200-meter finals, and it was actually 2 days after the 200-meter finals, because they didn't practice until until the team had qualified. So this core 4 had not practiced. Now, you compare
Elaine says they usually freestyle, so it's a
right. No, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Even though you usually freestyle, you tend to have camps prior to. There was no camp, and like I said, this team hasn't run together. The world record is still not out of reach because I hear they have 2 bites of the cherry for this year. I think it's the Zurich Diamond League. Zurich, one of them. One of the Diamond League finals and another one. So they probably have 2 bites of the cherry this year. And for the most part, this is probably the same team that will be around next year for the World Championships. So there are bites at the cherry. One of the things people don't understand is there's a reason why 4x1 records or relay records are hard to break, but especially 4x1 records. You realize it took Jamaica. The world record was set 37:40, was set from about 95, 96, about one of those times. That record stood for over a decade until Jamaica broke it. Why was it so hard to break? Because you have to be running together. Of the 3 world records in the 4x1 that Jamaica set, what was the common theme amongst them? Nesta Carter to Michael Frater. Right. That first handoff was always a thing of beauty.
The first handoff that messed us up, because I was even wondering if it was disqualified in the women's, because that handoff was so bad.
And it wasn't that it was bad, it's just that Elaine.
We spoke about the Elaine height versus the Brianna.
It wasn't her height, it was a matter of Elaine really getting up fast. Because Brianna passed well to Natasha. Natasha is far taller than Elaine. It was just a matter of Elaine got out a little bit too fast and then had to cut back for Brianna to catch her. Had she not gotten out as fast, they would have gotten the medal and she'd have had more of a head start. The changes after that were okay. Sherika did not run out either because Sherika said, listen, we could not get this change between me and Shelly, correct? So she stood her ground until Shelly hit the marker. Then she kind of jogged to get that clean. Now, if you give this team some more time together, you will realize that world record was going to pop. Because when the Americans broke the world record,
Shelly on the bend is a waste.
I don't think it is. She is a very good curve runner. No, it was a very good leg.
I thought it was very poor.
No, I think it was a very good leg because when you look back on it, what happened is that Jenna Prandini also ran a very good leg. But what Shelly did was, Shelly actually did not, nobody actually cut into the lead. There was no cut into the lead. Once Shelly got the baton, it was gone. Shelly is a very good curve runner. And I don't think it was a waste on the leg. I just think that Shelly just took a little bit to build up, but it wasn't a bad. The only person I think I've probably seen run a better curve on a Jamaica 4x1 is Veronica Campbell. I don't think I've seen somebody else give.
Watch it again. I
watched it.
No. Shelly on the curve is a waste.
I don't think it was a waste. I knew that they would have put Shelly on the curve because here's the thing. I don't think Elaine was going to put that pressure on herself with the Achilles issues to run that bend as hard as she should. Shelly was going to run that curve because if you
Right.
saw the 200, Shelly got off the curve in front of everybody. She's a master at running that curve. She blows off the curve. She just doesn't like to do it, but she blows off the curve. I think one of the problems that made it look a particular way, it was because Shelly is short and it was a very wide curve. So you never got to see the full extent of what Shelly can do on a curve because it's a wider curve. That would work well for somebody like a Elaine who is taller. She doesn't have to push as much. But it wasn't a bad curve. It was actually a really good curve. It got the button. That's why she was able to get the button so far ahead of everybody else. Because it was a really good curve. It was a really good curve. So you have to give her credit for that. And as like I said, it was without practice. Prior to the finals, it was that Elaine was going to run the curve and Shelly was going to run the backstretch because they're the only two that have ever passed and received a button. Sherika has never had to pass. Brianna has never received. So they were always going to put those two in the middle. Right? The thing was, Elaine did not want to put the pressure on her legs to run the curve.
They seem to have worked out their differences because the chemistry they seem to have. I don't know if it was a show, but
no, they like I said to you before, the animosity isn't between Shelly and Elaine. It's between Shelly and Steve Francis. Elaine just happens to be caught in the crossfire. They're still not the best of friends. We know that. But they're able to work well together, and that was the thing about them. They worked well together, and they've always been cordial, right? I think people just blew up a situation that never needed to blow up.
You know what? I watched a different feed on YouTube. This was actually the official Olympics feed, and it went on for like 12 minutes after the 100 meters. And watching that, it didn't seem as bad as people were making it to be. I don't know if maybe it's because I didn't see the full thing here, but I just saw the snippet after the race, they didn't go over, and it looked really horrible. And then they cut here and went to something else. But watching the longer feed, they did celebrate with each other at times, and it didn't look as glacial or frosty as I thought.
Because it wasn't. It wasn't as bad as many people thought. It wasn't as bad as many people thought, and I think people just blew it up out of proportions more than it needed to be. That's really what it is. People just blew it up more than it needed to be. They're not going. As I said, you don't have to be the best of friends.
Welcome, young mama of boys. Greetings to you. Men's 4x1 loser. It's not usual that I see us struggle that badly in a 4x4.
The men's 4x4, I think we did the best we could. I knew it was going to be difficult to get a medal, especially after I saw Netherlands was a surprise. I never expected Netherlands to get the silver. But I knew with Britain and Poland and the US, it was going to be difficult when everybody's not in shape. Now, if this team, everybody can go back to their best, then we're having a different conversation, right? But the thing that you must look at is this. Nathan Allen will be back into shape next year, should be. Demish Gay should be back into shape. Chris Taylor will be better. Akeem Bloomfield should be back. And I think the rest he got this year was well needed. He needed that rest. But Bloomfield should be back. Nathan Allen should be back. Chris Taylor should be back. Demish Gay should be back. The resurgence of Jahil Hyde is there. So you're looking at those guys and you're going, okay, Nathan Allen, not fully fit, still gave us 43, sub 44, sub 44 leg, right? And he gave us 44-1 in the finals. He still gave us very fast legs. Chris Taylor, with literally his leg shot, ran the fastest leg. So you're saying to yourself now, if this team comes back and everybody is fit, like I said, you add an Akeem Bloomfield to the team, all of a sudden, and some of the other guys like Sean Bailey and Bartley gets better, all of a sudden you're looking at a team that is a bit more of a challenging team and should get a medal. Because we say this, we saw it in 2016, we saw it in 2019. When this team is fit, this team is a sure medal contender.
Yeah.
Right? But the injuries and all of these things played a huge part in it. And it's just one of those things where they'll be back. And what I do like is they're young. They're relatively young, so they should be back for the next Olympics in 3 years' time. They should be back.
All right. What about the organizers? Which column are you for organizers?
The Olympic organizers, they did the best that they could. Let's be real. We
We're not,
upon.
I mean,
I think they are
I
winners.
like the start of the 100. I thought the
Yes.
start of the 100 was good.
They are winners because up until about maybe a month before the Olympics, people were still thinking that the Olympics were going to be cancelled. Because they can't postpone the Olympics again. It would have had to be cancelled. Up until that time, we thought it was going to be cancelled. They pulled it off. They did everything they could in their power. And they did the best that they could. I don't think they could have done any better. The only thing that, and I liked how the stadium seats were, because if you were watching, or when you're watching on the TV, it actually looked like there were fans in the stands because of how they made the seats. So they tried their best. They added noises around the speaker, so you'd hear applauses, you hear cheers, stuff like that. At one point, they started to allow teams to come in to watch, to have at least a little crowd vibe by the finishing line. So they did the best that they could, and they pulled off a very good Olympics, because the reality is the facilities are world class. We saw that by the times that were run. Yeah. The athletes came out and gave their best, and they basically did everything that they possibly could. The only thing I could say that was missing was fans in the stands, and we understood why they couldn't do that. But other than that, they were winners. They really were. I don't think many other countries could have pulled off what Tokyo pulled off. Yeah. So I have to give them credit for that.
Shelley and Fraser.
Winner. Undoubtedly a winner. And that's not my bias speaking. You're looking at the only woman to have ever medaled in 4 consecutive Olympic 100-meter titles, running her fastest time in an Olympic 100-meter finals into a headwind. She just got beaten by somebody that was just out of this world. Thankfully, it was a Jamaican as well. So she's definitely a winner. She's still in excellent shape. Even in the 200 where she placed 4th, she ran her fastest 200-meter time in a championship finals ever. Yeah. She just happened to place 4th. Right. So you're looking at it, she's had a very good year. She didn't disappoint. So you have to look at it and say she's a winner. She is a winner. Had she not medaled in the 100, no, then we'd be having a different conversation. But she didn't do worse than was expected. We knew that if Elaine was fit and in shape, Shelley was always going to be second.
Right.
And look at the time it took to beat Shelley. It took 10.61, into a headwind to beat her. So it wasn't anything that was fluky. She was beaten by a legit. Some of us will say the world record holder. Yeah. Some of us would probably say the current world record holder, because we have the Flojo thing. But yeah. So Shelley was a definite winner. Definite winner. The only thing that kind of upset me, and I think it upset everybody, was that 200-meter. Because had Shericka medaled in that 200-meter, she would have done something that nobody else in the history of track and field would have done. She would have been the first. She would have been the first person to have a medal, an Olympic medal, in the 100, the 200, the 400, the 4x1, and the 4x4.
Because Allyson Felix hasn't done that.
Allyson Felix hasn't done that. She got to a 100-meter final, but she didn't medal. So for Shericka, had she gotten to the finals, because I still believe she would have medaled, she would have run second, because 21.53 is just crazy. But had she gotten to the finals, we would have now been talking about we would now be questioning, is Allyson Felix really the greatest all-round sprinter? Because Shericka would have done something that even Allyson wouldn't have done. Yeah. To have medal, she would have been the only person to have medaled in all flat sprints and all relays. That's never been done before, and probably will never happen again. So she's a definite winner. And what made her even more of a winner was the fact that even not training for the 400 and her body not running the 400 and she not being in 400 shape, to get called at the 11th hour and say, you know what, my team needs me. and go out on that 4x4 and run the fastest leg, phenomenal.
Right.
Phenomenal.
Definitely. What about Team USA? I mean, they finished top of the medal table overall, but
Top of the medal table is relative. I think Team USA, it was a failure in some cases, because you finished top of the medal table, but you only got 7 gold medals when
right,
you were favored to get about 12 or 13. Um, Certain people showed up. And the thing about it is that every gold medal that America got, they were expected to get.
right,
So whether it be Athin Moore, Sidney McLaughlin, Krauser, all of the gold medals that they were able to receive, the 4x4s, that's 5 gold medals there, and they only got 7. Every gold medal that they received, they were favored to get that medal.
right,
But they lost a lot of medals that they were favored for, because the men's 110 hurdles, the men's 100, the men's 200, the men's 4x1, they lost a lot of medals. Even the men's 400-meter hurdles, even though we know Warholm and Rai Benjamin would have been in a tough battle, a lot of people probably picked Benjamin to get that, to beat Warholm. Um, they lost big time, and it's a sad state, because yes, they can get better, but the problem is the people who they lost to are still going to be there. Grant Holloway faced Hansel Parchment. Guess what? Omar McLeod comes back next year. So too with Hansel. Ronald Levy gets better. Damian Thomas gets better. You understand? Um, Rashid Broadbell gets better.
Broadbell is
So
still there.
right. So
Yeah,
what
we have
happens?
four people in the next year, right? Omar can't
No.
continue
Well,
because he has a
no.
wild
It
card.
depends. No, he doesn't have a wild card.
Oh,
If somebody
Diamond
wins the
League.
Diamond League, if
Oh,
somebody wins the Diamond League, then they have a wild card, because we don't have the defending champion. We have the wild card in only one event next year, and that's the 100 meters, because Shelley, being the defending champion, gets a bye. But you're looking at it and you're saying to yourself, you know
also
what?
Omar didn't win the last one.
No, Omar Grant won the last World Championships.
Oh, Grant.
So you're looking at it and you're saying to yourself, most of these guys for the 200 meters for men in the US should still be strong favorites, but we never know what happens. We never know who can show up. The 100-meter, Christopher Coleman comes back. He should be the favorite, but again,
Right.
we never know who shows up. The men's 400-meter, they ain't gonna get much better. I'm gonna tell you that straight up. They are not going to get much better. Um, So we see what happens with them there. They're not going to get much better in the men's 400,
All right.
because
Johan Blake.
Johan Blake, next year's probably his last international meet, if he's able to make the team. If he's able to make the team, I do see him having a difficulty making the team next year, though. I do see Johan Blake having a problem making the Jamaica team next year.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that the guys will be a lot better. So you definitely have a problem.
Shelly was suggesting, Empress and Chris, hello. Shelly was suggesting that this might be it for her in terms of Olympics.
It definitely is. I don't see her coming back at 38 years old. 38 going 39. I don't see her coming back at that age, running the 100. That's that. Oh no, she'd be 37 going 38. She'd be 37 going 38. Right. So I don't see her coming back. All right. So Jamvet is gone for a bit. So give him a second. He'll be back shortly. We had to be near. We had to be near. Okay, so I'm still here waiting on Jumper to come back. Okay, so I'm still
Don't know what's going
okay.
on. Sorry about that. Jonathan, where's the ads? Never find it enough. I don't
Ah, boy,
remember.
yes, sir.
I didn't remember anything about that. Oh Lord. Ashi and Jay, greetings. All right, we're talking about winners and losers from the Olympic Games. I saw in I Love Track and Field a lot of people are debating who the star of the games were. Because you had, um, on the female side, you had the contenders. On the male side, you had the contenders. So, I mean, Hassan failed in terms of her dream treble. Elaine got hers, probably the only one who got three gold medals in terms of track and field. So, who, I'm not being biased now, who would you crown as the, look at the internet of Empress? You know what? I'm thinking that I think that France internet was better than Jamaica, but man always a chip off.
No, man,
Without being
Jamaica internet.
biased,
Listen to me.
who was the star? Who would you
For
crown as
me,
the star of the show?
for the females, it's a toss up for me. It's between
Why is it
Elaine
a toss up?
and
Because
it's between Elaine and Hassan. And why do I say that? Is let's be real. Elaine won the treble, right? And she did it all in some form of record time, whether it is a national record or an Olympic record. It was in some form of record time,
no, but it's
right?
not any record. It's removing one of the records I thought was unmovable. In
Yeah, we
Flojo, we
thought it
thought
was.
Flojo was untouchable. All through my lifetime, I've heard that
No,
such times are untouchable.
we thought the record was untouchable until this year,
Right.
because this year we saw the women going at it, and we are like, okay, cool, and that's what puts her up there. But let me make this clear: what Hassan did is not a normal
Because
feat.
Hassan didn't break the world record or Olympic record.
No, it's
So,
not.
I
It's
mean,
not breaking. It's not just breaking the record. You're talking
and she
about
didn't get her
Hassan.
medal.
No, no, but still, it's 23,000 meters on your legs. That's
Hold on,
not easy.
Jermaine, we have to pause. We have to pause, yes, sir. Kimbella's Kitchen has just entered the house with a
Yes,
donation of
Kimberly,
10 Jamaican, 10 Canadian. We need to block.
big
Give
up
me a
yourself.
Jamaican dollars. 10 Canadian dollars. I just share some love to you and everyone in the chat. Even though I'm busy, I'm still listening. I can type. Big up. It's a great success. Thank you so much, my darling. Thank you so
Kimberly, big
much.
up yourself
Remember, I never have
100% of the
to
time.
some gas.
Mhm. But yes,
Right. Yeah. So I was saying that I'm the people she did that. We're going to compare Hassan
no, because it is
to
like I said,
Elaine.
you have to credit you have to credit feats that are near impossible. And for her, remember, she gave you probably one of the moments of the Olympics in the same time, because when she fell in that 1500 meters semis and got up and ran back to win that heat, and then you're talking about running 2 rounds of 5,000 meters plus a 10,000 meters, 3 rounds of 1,500 meters. That's 2.4 kilometers on your legs in the space of 5 days.
Yeah,
Come
but I
on,
mean,
man.
a sprint double
That
is
that
not sprint double. It's not that an easy feat
it's not an
either.
easy it's not an easy
It's never
feat, but
been
we
done
see.
before.
No, a sprint double has been done before. It's been done many times. It's
Not
just
back
that
to
it's not
back
done
sprint
regular.
double. Not back to back
Yeah,
sprint double. That's what I'm
but she did not
with
run.
an
She did not
Olympic.
run this. But she did not run the sprint double today and tomorrow. She ran one 5 years ago, and she came back 5 years later. Both has 3 back to back. We are not saying it's an easy feat, but let us talk about it. Let us not be biased. You just said don't be biased, You just said
No
don't be
man,
biased, and I'm not
you're
being
trying too
biased.
hard not to be biased here.
No, I'm
Because
not being
Hassan,
biased.
okay, it's great what she
Hassan,
tried to do, but she did not accomplish it. That's what I'm saying.
but it was. But look what took her to
Accomplish it.
lose.
It doesn't matter
No,
where.
but look.
It doesn't. Well, I mean, I could tell you that at 200, 400 is just as difficult. Michael
No,
Johnson
it's
did
not.
it.
No, but
Yes,
it's
it
not.
is.
That's the thing. Here's the joke.
Shania
Hold on. Here's what we're talking about. We've seen the 1500, 5,000 double. We've seen the 5,000, 10,000 double. We've never seen in one Olympics an individual literally go after all 3. She lost the 1500, but it took an Olympic record, right? And 2 of the fastest times in history to beat her. That's what we're looking at. And on top of that,
Exactly.
this was after running 2 1,500 meter heats, as well as running 2 5,000 meter rounds. That is a lot. No matter how you want to put it. No matter how you want to put it.
No, but if everybody could sprint, they would go after the 100 meters, because that's the that is the golden egg in sport.
No, but so, listen, if you've ever heard any 400 meter runner, Fred Curley did it this year, so did Shericka Jackson. Any one of them tell you which is easier to run, the 1-2 or the 2-4. They will tell you any day they will prefer the 1-2 over the 2-4. It's easier on the body. The 5th. Hold on. Do you realize that one race? Hold on. Do you realize that one race that Hassan ran, just one race, out of the 6 races that she ran, one race that she ran totaled more than all of Elaine's races combined?
Look at it that way, because Elaine could say to yourself, "Do you know that when I'm warming up, I run 5,000 meters? I jog around the field."
No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't.
They do.
No sprinter jogs 5,000 meters around the field.
They do.
They will jog around the field. What?
First, they have to warm up. Then I go run around the field 5-10 times. That's 4,000.
But they're not running in competitive pace. They're jogging. And remember, Hassan has to run as well.
Are not. The first laps are at a pedestrian pace as well.
But remember, Hassan has to warm up as well. So if you're going to say Elaine have to warm up, remember say Hassan have to warm up. And I am just talking the sheer beating that year. But there's a reason why they're calling Hassan Superwoman. You know? There's a reason. Because just like I said, one race that Hassan ran, just one race, totals more than all of Elaine's races combined.
Can't look at it like as the marathon runner could say, okay, I should get the glory of the Olympics because I ran the longest.
No, but the marathon runner runs one race. I'm not saying that, Hassan ran the 1,500 alone. I am saying to attempt that triple, that is the distance triple. So you're attempting the distance triple and you won 2 and placed 3rd in 1. That feat will never ever be tied again. There will be nobody that comes close to that again. I'm telling you that. You will always find people that will win a triple in the sprints. You ain't gonna find somebody get that successful at those. And that's why I said no credit away from Elaine. And that's why I have the 2 of them at the top. Because I said what Elaine has done, we have to give credit to it because of. No, I don't have to choose.
Come December, you have to name the athlete of the year.
Yes. And I said if either one of them wins, I wouldn't be upset. I wouldn't. I can't be upset.
I wonder who Flojo would choose.
Now Flojo dead and gone. We'll never know that. But I wouldn't be upset with either of them winning because, like I said, both of them did something that was difficult. But the reality is, and then here's the thing about it: one of Elaine's gold medals was a team effort. Hassan had to do all of this by herself. So that alone is stress. I'm not pulling at straws. I'm not grabbing at straws, but it is a difficult. It is, and anybody who is listening, you can chime in as well. The reality of it is, I think that triple is a man killer of a triple. Right? The only double I think could be in comparison of that woman killer. The only double that I think somebody could do that would be anywhere close to that is if they were attempting the 400 hurdles double. That double would have lactic acid in your legs from now till next year. That's the only double I think that is as difficult. Is as difficult as what Hassan did. Hassan's triple was not normal.
I'm looking at achievement.
No, but difficulty has to be.
Hang on.
Difficulty.
But what Elaine did has never been done with 21-5 and 10.
But what if I told you Flojo did the same thing?
Outside of Flojo, which we all have questions about. Outside of Flojo and her time. 21-5 and 10-6 has never been done at an Olympic.
True,
so it's nothing. I mean, because Flojo's records are here, we're not realizing the magnitude of how fast they went.
And that's why I said I am not taking anything.
That national record, 21-6-4, how many years has that stood?
Almost 30 years, 28 years, I think.
And we're talking about people like Veronica Campbell, double Olympic champion, Karen Stewart, Cheryl, all of those did not break that record.
True, and I'm not speaking. I'm not bashing. Like I said, I'm not bashing Elaine's accomplishment, and I'm not downgrading her accomplishment. What she did is phenomenal. But the thing about it is, I see somebody in the near future being able to replicate that quicker than they can replicate what Hassan. No, I'm not saying I'm seeing them now, but I'm saying probably in 10 years or by the next 2 Olympics. You never know. Hassan's double is literally something. Hassan's triple is something that even when she said she was going for it, everybody said she was crazy.
Had she got the triple,
she didn't.
Then I probably would have said, okay, fine.
No, had she gotten the triple, Elaine's accomplishment would pale. I'm telling you that. Had she gotten the triple, won all 3 gold medals, Elaine.
2 Olympic records.
No, Elaine had 1 Olympic record.
2 Olympic records. The 4x1.
And that's 100. The 4x1 is a national record. So she only had 1 Olympic record. Yeah. But like I said, if Hassan had run and won gold for all 3, I would have had to give it. I would give it to Hassan. No bias. I would give it to Hassan just because of the sheer difficulty of doing that. Even though the times would have been ordinary, just because of the sheer difficulty of it, the difficulty of it. Like we knew. All right, put it this way: if I came into the Olympics and I told you that, or I said to you a year ago, or that Elaine was going to go for the triple the next Olympics, you probably would say, okay. Because it's not so.
Yeah, I would have said, no, hang on. I would have said okay, but I wouldn't have said okay with 21-5 and 10-6-1.
No, but it's not like we never expect. We all expected those times from Elaine. But if I said to you 2 years ago, somebody was going to attempt the 1,500, 5,000, and 10,000 meter in one championship, you would probably, if you're a track and field fan, you're going to tell me that I'm an idiot. Nobody would ever take on that. And then if I came back and told you, oh, the person who did that would have gotten a bronze and 2 gold, and the bronze that they got would have come in an Olympic record time, and the 2nd fastest time in history, and the 4th fastest time in history.
Wow, that person is phenomenal. But if you told me that somebody
exactly
one of Flojo's record, said that person is super phenomenal.
We knew, but the thing is, we knew one of those records was going to drop this year. We knew a Flojo time was going to drop.
For years, people have always said those records were untouchable. All my childhood life, people have always said Flojo's time won't ever be beat.
But if you watch track and field for this year, you realize that people were gunning for it. They were gunning for that time. They were gunning for those speed. So it's not that it was impossible. It was possible. But like I said, had Hassan won all three, I would have given Hassan the athlete of the meet. I personally would have done so. Had she won all three. But because of she did not win all three and she got a bronze, I said because of the sheer difficulty of her triple and the fact that she had to do it alone and the amount of miles on her body. We're talking 2.45 kilometers on her body. So we're talking a lot of miles on her body. Basically 10 miles on her body. I would say, yo, that's just crazy. That's crazy. You know, so
all right, so
10 miles of intense running.
The Jamaican male team.
The Jamaican male team, they neither were winners nor losers. What I will say is this: had certain things been in our favor, we would have been seeing a complete different result. Why do I say that? Frederick Dakers and Tajay Gale, had they not been injured, we're talking 2 additional medals, right? So had they not been injured, our men's 4x4, if it was a fit 4x4, that would have been an additional medal. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah,
and then
every country can feel that, couldn't they? I mean,
which is true. But let us start directly at the one that we saw.
You have to look at the performance in terms of performance, because you can't look at next time to say, I studied, I would have passed. Let's look at the performance of the men's team.
All right. Let me put it this way. They did not underperform. They did not underperform based on the expectations we had of them. So yeah, they never underperformed based on the expectations we had of them.
So you're saying that you are happy with their performance of the men's team?
Yeah, because let's be real, we never thought that we'd have gotten somebody
no finals in the 100. No finalists.
Yeah, but we got somebody. We had a finalist in every other. Just the 100. Right. Jahil Hyde hitting that.
No medal in the 4x1. None in the 4x4. When was the last Olympics that Jamaica did not medal in one of the relay? And I'm not even talking you say
2004.
2004.
We never medaled in any of them in 2004.
Right, so you have to go back almost 15 years now, 17 years now.
Yes, but that is. But when was the last time we had medal? The last time we medaled in the men's 4x4 was in 2016. The last time prior to that was the year 2000. We had not medaled in the men's 4x4 since the year 2000 when we got that silver with that record breaking, with that phenomenal team with Greg Hart and Danny Mack, Davian Clark and Michael Blackwood. But so we went we went 16 years without an Olympic medal in the 4x4.
Yeah, but Jermaine, you can't just cut and choose the performance that you're looking at, because then you would have to highlight the 4x1. Because
the 4x1
prior to 2000, we didn't get medals in the men's 4x1 either.
Right, and we never got a medal in the men's 4x1 until 2008.
Right, so I'm looking at the men's performance. The entire world was looking. And outside of Parchment and Levy, I don't see anything else that we could say. I mean, we saw good signs of things to come.
Rashid Douai making the finals.
Yeah, but that's
right. Christian.
Rashid Douai is always there or there.
No, he's never made a championship final.
but he's always been. He's not a new campaigner. If you see what I mean.
Well,
How
here's the
old
signs
is
that
How
I
old
thought
is
that
Dwyer?
Dwyer is about 30 now. I think he's 30.
Right. So it's not a new campaigner. So you're not going to look at Dwyer and say, "Oh, that's one."
No, but here are the signs that we
So
can look
clearly,
at. You have Oblique Seville, which was a very good sign, barely missing out on the finals for the 100 meters.
right. So what I'm saying is, there was a lot of nearly
You had Chris
miss.
Taylor.
There was a lot of nearly miss or nearly hits, but if I'm going to categorize them, they'll definitely have to be in the losing category.
No, but let's be real. Other than
Irrespective
Usain
of
Bolt,
expectations. Well.
Usain Bolt in the last Olympics, Usain Bolt and Omar McLeod were our only medals from the men last year.
Yeah, but Bolt got 3 medals.
Exactly.
Got 1.
But
That's 4.
right, and we got 2 this time
But
without
four,
any superior talent.
2, that's 50% downward turn.
No, but we had a far weaker men.
And we had a lot more men ranked in the top 3 because we had Dakers ranked in the top 3. Tajay Gale, okay, they're injured, but they were ranked in the top 3.
Exactly. So we're talking about medals that we could have gotten had it not been for injuries.
Right. So in terms of performance, you have to look at that. If you're looking at performance, you have to look at whether or not they were injured. You still have to look at what the performance.
All right, let me put it in the context.
Triangle Music has arrived. Good evening, Oz. Says Triangle Music, welcome.
We did not do worse. We did not do worse than many people than we expected.
Yeah, but you're not going to open your mouth and say, "Wow," for that team.
Exactly, but it's not a winner nor it's a loser.
Okay, we won the 100 hurdles. Probably we would have ticked that box from 2 years ago.
No, we knew we were going to we knew we were going to get a medal in that. But to step up to the goal, it wasn't a surprise, and get 2 medals, it was okay.
I mean, China was finishing ahead of us in the 4x1. When did that ever happen?
No, but let us be real. China finished second in the last Olympics, and we had both.
Right. Although the Chinese sprinter, I thought he would have medals.
Exactly.
I think they would have given one.
I think there was a lot of disappointments or surprises
Italy.
this Olympics.
When was Italy ever going to win the 4x1? Although there are a lot of speculations around the Italian team at the moment.
No, but even if you if you take away those 2 gold medals, it's still 3 gold medals. Italy won 5 medals.
Right.
And all of them were gold.
Cassie says they're going to leave the man them alone. They tried their best. We're not saying that they didn't try their best, because every athlete who's an Olympian obviously tried their best. But if we're choosing winners and losers of the Olympics, if you're going to put the men's team in a category, I don't see how we could put them in the winners category.
But here's the thing, we never expected.
Christopher Taylor did well, as Triangle was saying. Christopher Taylor did do well. But I don't see how we never expected in the winners category.
No, but here's the thing, Jamfet. We never expected much from them. The fact is, we would have had 2 other medals had it not been for injuries.
To be honest, I would have probably expected a bronze from the 4x1.
Most people didn't have them to medal.
I think a weakened Jamaica team should be able to produce a bronze 4x1. If we're the second most powerful sprint power in the world, we should be able to put 4 people together who can get at least a bronze.
But here's the thing. America has the most sprinters. They should put together a 4x1 that can make the finals. They didn't.
I agree with you. The only nation that should be finishing ahead of us is the US. And if we stretch it a little bit more, Britain. That's it.
But here's the thing. The world is catching up.
Triangle says that the ladies take more pride in their craft. Is that true? The ladies take more pride in their craft. I think that's a fair statement in that if you look at the game face, as I call it, at the start of the races, for the women, even those who didn't do so well, like Latoya or Stephanie McPherson. At the start of the race, you could say they put the game face on, meaning they don't really come to play. I can't really say that about them. I don't see that fight, that grit. I didn't really see it in the men's team, to be honest. And it's not that I'm bashing them at all, because I've seen Olympics where we only come away with like 3 medals. So it's not that I'm bashing the men's side of things, but I don't think people would have looked on with pride outside of the hurdles. Chango says, Sassy, just listen to what Brianna said. Enough is said. What did Brianna say?
I guess she's talking about how she prepared for the races. Oh, by the way, I must.
Would you put her? Sorry.
I must say, and I must say out for those who follow track and field. Today the US lost an athlete, Cameron Burrell. Oh. He's the son of Leroy Burrell and also an American athlete. Right. He died today. So, people are saying suicide, people are saying all sorts of stuff.
Okay. But Triangle, share with us what Brianna said. Would you say Brianna is a winner? I mean, yes, she did run
easily.
Because I mean, her legs were quite good. I think we would be smiling at Brianna's performances.
All right, put it this way: Brianna ran arguably the best first leg I've seen from any team outside of Tiana Bartoletto. That first leg was phenomenal.
Winner and loser. Where would you put Steve Francis?
Winner.
Winner, definitely. For some reason, he always ends up in the winner's enclosure.
Yes, because he's a genius and he knows how to get his.
I think he tried to be a little bit more diplomatic this time around than you've seen him in times gone by.
Yes, and that's just Steven for you. Like, I think he's a little bit more calm and relaxed now. Maybe because he might get old. But he's done better this year.
Triangle, I'm interested to know what Brianna said. Sassy's agreeing with you. Kimberly's Kitchen says, Sassy, big up yourself.
Yes, another winner that we must mention is the Jamaican hurdlers, the female hurdlers. Megan Tapper, Brittany Anderson, Janive Russell, all of them ran a personal best in the Olympics. She ran her PB in arguably the greatest 400 hurdles race in history. That's a winner. All our hurdlers, female hurdlers, ran their PB.
Came back to 2 legs.
A very good 4x4. Exactly.
Twice. What about the Italian guy that wanted Bolt's attention? Was Bolt a winner in this Olympics? Bolt did not congratulate the guy. NBC was pointing that out.
They're just looking for something. They need a headline.
Sassy, I want you to be patient with that guy because there's a lot of speculation in Europe. I don't know if it has hit Jamaica.
Oh yeah, we hear it. We know it. We know what's going on.
Huge amount of speculation about the Italians. So let's be patient there. I mean, nobody wants doping in the sport. So I would hope that, they did it fairly and squarely. But you never know. But I think the hurdles race in general came out winners in this Olympics.
The hurdles were
the sprint hurdles and the 4 hurdles.
If there was an event that got the attention of the world, I'm glad that the 4 hurdles came back on top. For me, the 4 hurdles was the best collective male-female race. Both races produced world records. Both races produced the three fastest times in history for that event. It was just phenomenal.
You know, two teams that I'm gonna say look very ordinary this Olympics: Kenya and Ethiopia. I don't know what has happened to the Kenyans and Ethiopians, but they looked ordinary.
No man,
I
Kenyans
don't know
were
if it's a
still
question.
good. Ethiopia looked ordinary.
I mean, they were there or thereabouts, but the dominance that we are used to seeing. I mean, Uganda, they were there winning a lot more medals and stuff. So, I mean, the dominance that we are used to, and the tactical races from Kenya.
Let us be real. Kenya won the 800 men. They won the 1500 women. They barely missed out on winning the 1500 men. They won the marathon. So it's not like they weren't there. It's just, here's the thing about it, is that a lot of the teams that won, minus probably the 1500 meter for men, they were regular traditional East African teams or East African people. Like Hassan was born in Ethiopia. She's Ethiopian, but she runs for the Netherlands.
Right.
Afin Moo's family is Sudanese. So it's not like it wasn't a strong African presence. The problem is just that some of the Africans, they run for other countries. But they were still there. Thereabout. The Ethiopians fell off a lot. But the Kenyans were always there. They were
Kenyans were there in finals, but I didn't see the dominance as, you know, like usually Kenyans and, you know, kick and leave Kenyans.
No, they dominated they dominated the events that they should have. The problem is the events that they didn't dominate, they didn't have the favorite. They didn't have the favorite. They won the women's steeplechase, by the way.
Somebody who's a winner who is not an athlete, Adam Stewart from Standards.
No man, he's a loser because he's a whole heap of money he's gonna lose.
Like, does he realize what he's doing? Like,
I guess with COVID and not many visitors coming in, it's quite fine. And it's the least you can do for your athletes. It's 4 days. 5 medalists get unlimited stay. The rest of them get 4 days.
What does it mean by unlimited stay? Is it that they just
No, they can't live there, but they probably get a week. They get probably a week. Usually they get a week. That means they get a week.
Or once they check in and they come, that's it.
Yeah, basically. Well, usually when them say unlimited stay, it usually means a week. 8 days at most. 8 days, 7 nights. That's what it means.
Somebody who is a winner, Spencer Darlington. I saw the interviews, but a lot of people are giving reviews about.
Yeah, man. Spencer has really stepped up his game in the last 5 years. He's an amazing journalist, an amazing broadcaster. He's a big winner for me. And also another person who is a winner is that lady that gave Hanson the taxi money. She definitely won.
I didn't hear
the volunteer. Yeah, so she's definitely a winner. TVJ, all right, compared to the last Olympics when they had Grace Jackson doing all that stupidness, TVJ, they did excellent coverage. They brought excellent coverage. They knew exactly what Jamaicans wanted to watch. They brought it on at the right times, and we never missed a race. No, on their panel is always the same. The panel is always the same. It's going to be Hubert Lawrence, it's going to be Bruce James, Gillian Russell. So it's going to be the same, but the broadcasters was that the broadcasters were the American, the British, and the Australian guy. I think it was Stuart Scott, Stuart, whatever my name, an American and the Australian girl. But it was better coverage compared to what we had last year. Huh?
I've never heard Gillian Russell, but I'm used to Grace Jackson from my time.
No man, Grace Jackson commented.
Kathy what? Kathy Levy? What do you remember with that man name?
Kathy Levy, right, Kathy Ratcher. Yeah, Kathy Ratcher would have been one of them from back in the day, but Gillian has been with the team for a while. So the in-studio coverage that we got, which is the post-show and the pre-show, they were good as usual. TVJ does really good post and pre-shows, let me tell you that. But for the commentary at the Olympics, we it was better than the last time because the last commentary it was the Caribbean broadcasters who did it and they were awful. You know,
Right.
this year they used better commentators. They used it and it worked. So there have been a lot. I think for me there have been more winners in this Olympics than losers. I think the biggest disappointment is the American men not winning a track gold medal until the 4x4.
Right.
That was a huge shot. So between the 100 meters, all hurdles, um, all long, middle and long distances, America did not win one single gold medal on the male side on the track. Not
But
one.
but
That was the stuff.
I don't know if it's that the rest of the world is catching up and
That's
or
what's
what.
happening. The rest of the world is catching up.
All right, we're going to welcome Latoya in a moment, but we have to say a big thank you to Sassy J, who has just donated 5 British Queen Elizabeth II pound to Jamfet. Pick up Jamfet currently editing a video to upload. I'll be back. Thank you so much, Sassy J. Thank you for that super chat. Sassy
Big up
J,
yourself, strategy.
£5, guys, and it's real. No counterfeit down here.
No counterfeit money, right there, so.
Latoya, welcome.
Thank you for
Sassy
having
says
me.
we're
Sorry
not
to be
reading
late.
the comments. Because host and chat, Jamfet, do you think the world is waiting on us? Says Triangle Music. Let's start, guys. All right, what about the Italian guy? What's Sassy saying? I read the comments. May I read the comments, man? I've read them all. Sassy, if you put a comment and I missed it,
Triangle, let's
I'll
give
put it
who
back.
the triangle. So I just come and I see you right. So
Triangle
that you
says
are answering
Glenn
that.
Glenn Mills, would you say Glenn Mills is this Olympic a winner? I don't know which athletes he had.
The only
The only
athlete Glenn Mills had was oblique.
Was oblique civil. Triangle, sure says Glenn
So
Mills
what's
the
happening
one.
in racing?
None.
what she said. Exactly what she said. Not a thing.
Nada. Zit.
Oh, I was going to turn
You're not going to
on.
race us.
We gonna go juice now or something? I beg you now, yes, sir.
Lad, you have to couldn't say thirsty that time.
You know, see my lip dry. Jamfet, a time for you give me like a food, you know? Some juice, some water, something.
Yeah,
Make
little
it a
something.
long time. Not even like water, you can't even, you know what I mean? Sponsor like water, something.
It's a come, man. It's a come.
It a come long time. It a you alone come and sweet. Anyways.
You see, me not even turn on the monetization, the ads on the thing. I mean, I know how to do it, you know.
What do you mean you know for it?
Anyway,
You got time.
Say not it long time, what you mean you know how to do it?
Because it does show up all the time. All right, Latoya, you have to catch up with the discussion. We have issued
No
out a
problem.
lot.
Anyway, to start it, we just put in my 2 cents. What kind of reward him deserve, Triangle? What kind of reward? Talk to me.
I think she meant Steve Francis.
That's what I want.
Steve Francis,
you want to say. Which one? All right, so Triangle, let me help you. Glenn Mills was or is the coach of Usain Bolt, the greatest of all time, the world record holder, the fastest man in the world. That, right? He also used to coach the second fastest man in the world, which is Usain Blake, which a lot of people bash and dash and kick and kill and dash right. Now, then not because attack it as it is. And then you have Steve Francis, who coaches the fastest woman alive and used to coach the second fastest woman alive. And he basically coach now currently the third fastest woman. Right?
And the biggest stroker.
And the biggest stroker, improve for that. Right, that's all. You know what I mean? He also used to coach Taekwondo Tracy. He also used to coach
Megan Tapper.
So
he coaches Ronald Levy.
He contributes to Jamaica on every level.
He coaches Ronald Levy. He coaches
Thank you, Sassy. I'm here.
Genevieve Russell.
Right there, so.
He coaches
That's
Ronald
why
Levy.
I'm
Coaches
celebrating your rage.
a bad man.
Yes.
A bad man. Come there and a one big up me get, but it's alright.
Yeah.
You can't, that's
But I have to
bad.
say, Jermaine, I have to say, I get a lot of because we had our Jamaican event here in Paris this weekend, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, Jermaine, me watch you something about me no comment." Jermaine sound like Wayne Walker. So, them things just sound like Wayne
Somebody
Walker.
brought up magnificent. Thank you, whomever you said it. You said it.
I don't know if I should be offended or
No,
I should
you
be.
shouldn't. No, you shouldn't.
Or I should be. Anyway,
No, you shouldn't.
I appreciate
understand
it.
that.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Receive that because he
Wayne Walker, the boss still.
we're not the boss.
Yeah, man, Wayne Walker, Spencer Darlington.
I must be
Minister
Spencer.
Warren,
Spencer did a
Lance
wonderful job.
Yeah, we talked about that a while ago. We just talked about that a while ago.
Okay.
What happened to Bobby Frey? I'm only too young to know
Seriously?
who he is now.
Bobby Frey not dead.
Bobby
He
Fred
died?
dead.
He died? Who killed him?
Let me check. I'm sure it's Bobby Frey
Bobby
dead.
Freddy
Bobby
dead,
Frey.
man. Bobby Freddy dead. Let's check. Bobby Freddy died.
I'm sure Bobby Frey did dead.
Hang on. He's not dead. You know who died? Crossskill died, but not Bobby Frey.
Who?
Hold on, let me check. We know one of them did dead.
Crossskill did dead, but Bobby Frey used to be very good back in the day. Before he started to bleach his nose.
Seriously. No man, Bobby Frey still alive. He's still alive, he just
He
retired.
used to be the stadium
No,
announcer.
if his brother died. Oh Jesus.
He's still alive. Bobby Frey is still alive, but he's retired now. Oh, that's how thing there they end up getting the job. What's his name? Ricardo Chambers. That's how he ended up getting the job for stadium announcer.
Of course, me have to cause them. I saw them turn.
This
Hi,
one, this one,
hi
this one.
Shadeen. Welcome, Shadeen Johnson and family.
Thank
We need to be
you,
permanent
Shadeen.
over here, so we can't do that,
Sorry,
Jamaica.
because in our German, don't remember in the comment section. Because I read
Trust
all
me,
the comments.
yourself.
All right, so Latoya, read the comments. Shadeen, welcome.
Well,
Latoya.
we need to get on permanent job over here, so write this stuff for that.
Listen, winner or loser, the men's Olympic team from Jamaica.
The 4x1?
But doesn't mean anything for me and Jermaine disagree.
No, the team overall. The team overall. The men's side.
team. Men's team.
I would.
Jermaine.
I am happy for the team. So I would give them, due to their performance and what they had to
What
work with, I would say top
What
performance.
What performance?
All right. So
No finalists in the 100.
And no finalists in the 4 hurdles. That's it.
No,
We had a finalist in every other event.
yeah, but
we
they
have
didn't
finalists in
get-
every other event, though. I just some 2 days we have a finalist in.
they
No,
didn't
No,
get finalists.
here.
No, hello. We had a finalist in every other event, and for
Yeah, but
that,
hang on. Latoya, never before have we
Not
judged
the
our
style.
performance. We
That's
never
why,
judge
that's
our performance
why.
for finals.
Hold on, Jamfet.
We're talking about performance. I'm not
Jamfet,
talking
may I
about
stop you right there,
people.
so. Jamfet, may I stop you right there, so. In 2008, Usain Bolt was the only man to medal for us consistently, including the 4x1. Right? Hold on. That's why I said including the 4x1. Usain Bolt was the only male medalist. The only time Jamaica, since 1952, the only time Jamaica have a very good men team was 2012. The hunger time. Why? Because we got a broad score.
On the street at one point. I actually saw an interview on YouTube with him. Thank God for Hansel and Lee. But the Sashi Budi, like I say, Hansel and Gretel. Welcome, Sashibu Diva, and the Sassy Diva have entered. The Sassy Diva.
CDE, big up yourself. Because I'm here, big up nobody.
Sashi was Sassy. And
No,
all right, so I'm sorry.
But as I'm saying though, Jamfet, only 2012 when we had Hansel medaling, Johan and Usain medaling in the 100. We obviously know the clean sweep of the men's 200 and the 4x1 winning gold. That was the only time in our history where the men actually dominated, comparatively speaking, to the women. Every other Olympics since 2008 to 2016, it has really been Usain Bolt. In 2016, the only addition to the Usain Bolt was the men 4x4 medal for the first time since 2000, and Omar McLeod getting a gold medal. For the most part, our men's team has been relatively weak. Now, the reason why I bring this up is to say this. This was arguably our weakest team from the men's side since probably 1996. Call a spade a spade. Because guess what? Even in 2000, we had great 400 runners. That's why Greg Horton could medal and the 4x4 for men could medal. In 2004, we had Danny Mack getting a medal in the 4 hurdles. So we've always had a decent enough team. We had Chris Williams getting to the finals in 2004. We had two men in the finals for the 400 meters. We had a man in the finals for the 110 hurdles in Mr. Smooth himself, Maurice Wignall. We had a man in the 100-meter finals in Asafa Powell. We get that. That was 2004. This is our and yet still we only got 1 medal from the men in 2004. This is our weakest men's team.
We had Dakers who should have medal. We have
Dakers shouldn't have medal.
Hold on,
wait there. That is why we're saying we're
squad. Tajay Bale could have medal.
No.
Tajay Bale could have barely come out of the pit.
Well, look here.
That's what I'm saying. You're taking into hold on, Natalia. You're taking into consideration injuries and that sort of thing. We cannot do that. We have to look at performance.
But we have to.
Hold on, John, make him sound.
Nation, welcome.
Jumpet, number 1.
She said, only Hansel make me proud. Back big, but what? Hansel make me proud back. Hansel make me proud back. Big up my place right through. What about when Jamaica got
St. Thomas to come from? We never took the men's 100. It was a 200 meter. I spoke about that.
Well, Jumpet and his brother who should have medal for cheerleading says, keep on the nation. Don't check out that video, please. It's family video. So,
Jumpet, look here.
We can't look at injuries. Then we will have to America.
Jumpet, number 1 was spoiled, and that is our problem. Jamaica is very spoiled on a bad and on a nana manners. Reason being, because Jumpet, I allow you to talk, so I allow me to talk. Where you take this thing for?
Go on.
Because before Usain Bolt came onto the stage, were we winning everything?
We had the world record in the 100.
And him choke when reach finals.
No, hold on. Bear in mind that we had the world record. We had the world record in 100. It was never made at a world championship. Neither was it made at an Olympic game. But Brad and his father, him go on the court 1 time and he broke it. Before the world record became ours, what were we?
We had
were we getting gold all the time? No, were we getting gold all the time?
From 1948, we've been getting gold.
So we did sweep everything?
We weren't sweeping everything. And we weren't consistent. But the revolution actually started with Asafa Powell training at home, with Sharon Simpson and those people.
And Asafa wasn't even the man who changed the revolution. The revolution changed with Bridget Foster Hilton coming back home. That's when it changed, because it was Bridget in 1999 who started with the MVP.
We could say that, but the real revolution was when
You're asking a question for my opinion. My opinion is that the men's team is good, was good. I'm not going to take it away from them, and I'll tell you why. A lot of us know the potential.
2 finals.
A lot of us. If I can push my finger through the if I could have pushed my finger through
Jump it.
Mix relay in there if you want to.
Jump it. Bear in mind. A lot of us know what we are riding on is the past and not the present. We're riding on what we know of the athletes in the past.
The present is 2 medals. No medal in the 4x1. The present
But
is no better
Jamfet,
than the 4x4.
But
That's
Jonathan,
the present.
we didn't have really have we asked the athletes to sacrifice themselves for nothing at all to go and run.
That's not
Bear in
true,
mind,
Natalia.
it is a
That's not
job.
you.
No,
That's
no,
not
what I'm
me.
saying is but what I'm saying is
You're
bear in
telling
mind.
me that Jamaica cannot find 4 people who can beat Italy in a 4x1?
hold on, stop there. Jamfet, stop there. Jamfet, stop there. Stop there.
That is success.
No, Jamfet, what you're talking about a conversation coming out of the Usain Bolt era. Let me say this to you.
No.
Hey, hold on. Don't interrupt me. Never say.
That's China.
No.
And the
Hold on. Let me stop you there. Hold on. Let me stop you there.
Gymnastics and swimming.
No, let me stop you there. China placed second in the last Olympics. Second, beating the mighty USA. Right? Canada was always a contender. Remember, Canada has a strong history in sprints. Britain has the biggest upset in Olympic history, upsetting that 2004 American All-Star team. So it's not that we were losing.
Britain's men has always been there or thereabouts.
But what I'm saying is, those were the teams that finished ahead of us. What I am saying to you is this. We had the Usain Bolt era. Any country that had an era like that would have been dominant. We saw it in America when they had Carl Lewis with Dennis Mitchell and Leroy Burrell and the whole of them, Calvin Smith. They did it. Canada did it when they had Sonny Bruin and Donovan Bailey. It happens. What I am saying to you is you're looking to it from a perspective. Hold on now.
Did you go?
You're looking.
Hang on. What were the times?
Hold on.
National triumph. In the one of
it doesn't matter.
Of course it matters. Because
nobody in the.
But they're
nobody that was.
They're all running.
But that is the thing.
How many
but here's the thing.
4 men running 10 lows.
But here's the thing. It doesn't. What you're thinking is that it's the 4 fastest that wins a relay. That's not the case. With Jamaica, notice I said to you. Notice I said to you.
The 4 fastest have to be competitive.
But were they competitive? Were they competitive?
No, they weren't.
Jamfet.
In the finals, they weren't competitive in the finals.
They had bad button exchanges. That's what they had. Bad button passes. They had bad button passes.
Look at the American statistics in the 4x1. That's going to shock you a lot more than.
No, and America has been known to get. I said it the other day. I said of the last 15 relays, America has either been DQ'd or did not finish 8 of the last 15. I've said that.
So we cannot use.
But what we're saying is but what I am saying is
the women had a poor button exchange as well.
No, but here's the thing with the women. That is the thing. You are comparing apples and oranges. Here's the thing. Yes, a woman had poor button exchanges. Watch this. Hold on. A woman had poor button exchanges, right? But the reality is, our women are the 3 of the fastest women alive. 3 of the fastest women in history. Those women, even with poor button. No, here's what but what I'm saying is, no, I'm not contradicting. Here's what I am saying, Jamfet. Hold on. Here's what I am saying. They have 3 of the 4 fastest women alive. Once they get the stick around, they were going to win. It don't matter. That's why they played it safe. All their changes were safe. Hold on. With the men is we do not have the 4 fastest men in the world. It's not like we had Asafa Powell and Johan Blake in his prime.
Are you telling me that China has 4 men running 10-1?
China has 3 men sub 10 right now, including one that ran 10.83.
Italy doesn't have 4 men running 10-1.
Italy has an Olympic champion and another sub 10 runner, as well as 2 10-0 runners.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you said it's not the 4 fastest. So what I'm saying is, we have got this term athletes who are running 10-0s, 10-1s.
But 10-0 don't cut it again.
Yeah, but they should have been competitive.
10-0 don't cut it again.
Yeah, but how many countries have 10-0s? That's what I'm saying.
All the countries that placed ahead of us.
That's not true. They don't have 4 running it. They might have 1 running a 9-9.
Listen.
Or a 10-10. But not
all right.
How many,
good. Watch it just say. You might have.
How many Chinese were in the final?
It doesn't matter. No Jamaican made the finals. At least a Chinese one was in the finals.
Right. How many?
No
Italians?
Jamaican made the finals. An
Italians?
Italian won. An Italian won.
Right. Exactly. So you're contradicting yourself again.
But what I am saying to you is this, Jamfet. Let me say this to you again.
I'm saying that we should have been able.
We are listen. We would have had to run a perfect race to medal. That is all it is. We would have had to run a perfect race to medal because we are not at the same standard with our men that we were 4 years ago. We don't have a nice.
No country in the world is at the standard of a Usain Bolt. We're talking about getting a bronze medal. What was the time for the bronze medal?
Jamfet, the team that ran third ran faster than Jamaica has run in 3 years.
What was the time for the bronze medal?
The time for the bronze medal was 31.7 low, I think. 31.72.
37.
31.72.
31?
Not 30. 30, sorry, 37.71. My bad. 37.71.
Semi-finals.
We ran 31.82. So we still would have been out of the medal had we just replicated that. We still would have been out of the medal just by replicating that.
Yeah, we would have been competitive.
We ran 31. We ran 37.84. We ran 200 of a second slower.
We were not competitive in the 100.
But Jamvet, we ran 200 of a second slower. 200 of a second slower with poor button exchanges. That's what we did. So we ran just as.
And you think that was a winning performance?
Because nobody expected Jamaica to even make the finals. We didn't make the finals 4 years ago. We didn't make the finals at the World Championships, 2 years ago. The time we ran at the
before the people start rebel, Sassy said I didn't go anywhere. Yeah, I was confused with Sashi. McPherson tried too hard. Somebody had said something about McPherson. Somebody said me know so she never did go win nothing. Speaking about McPherson, really Sassy, really? Damford, have you ever had a knee injury before? Never had any type of injury, to be honest. Lesson from the Olympic, we can't rely on Jamaican men. So Sashi is agreeing with me.
Sashi, bash Jamaican man now.
Sashi.
That one they gone deep.
That gone far now. It's not
that gone deep. That one they gone deep.
It's not bashing, but what you guys are saying is that if the guys didn't perform, we can still give them a passing grade, and I don't understand that type of argumentation.
I'm not saying I'm giving them an A grade, but I'm saying their effort still has to be recognized.
They did greater than most people thought they would have.
Too many of us want so much from them and can't do it the first thing. That's a one thing. Too many of us bash them. Listen now. Listen now. I bash. Listen. When them do the foolishness.
That's not as fair a statement to me that we can do it so we not criticize them. So it might as well we don't have no fans then. Because that's the job of a fan. You know to appreciate your.
But the way in which we kill them.
Nobody not kill them.
You might not kill them, You listen me, man.
Some things on me here.
How many of you were killing Asafa Powell when he choked every time in his final? How much time you used to kill?
No, him deserve it. You can't be one of the fastest man alive and can't medal.
Jermaine is full of.
I love Asafa. I am Asafa, one of Asafa's biggest fan. No doubt about it. However, when Asafa became the fastest man in the world, make it even greater. When Asafa started choke, I used to say to people, listen, why is it that we want more from Asafa when Asafa has already been self-actualized? Asafa's one dream from high school has only been that he wants to be a world record holder. He never tell nobody same one be Olympian or anything. I used to say that. However, it's when him do it, when him show up, you saw when him did the training, the little bronze medal there, they did him. Me name him. Me not guide. Me name him. But when him do whatever, I would still say that him do wrong and him do right. If you put out the effort,
I was competing against Gafflin, he was competing against Dyson. It's not like he was competing against nobody.
No, but Jamfet, let me say this to you.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
Asafa was running at a time when he, in the earth before Bolt, Asafa was clearly the best sprinter in the world. That's the comparison we're making. Nobody in Jamaica right now is the best sprinter in the world.
Not a sprinter who does rounds. He was the best one-off race sprinter, like at the Diamond League, etc. But to go through the rounds and stuff, he has never done that.
Jamfet, Asafa used to run 985 in a semi-final. I'm going to run 991 in a final. Exactly. I run a 995 and then something like I'll come fourth and fifth. When he was clearly the fastest runner. When Tyson Gay beat him in a 07, Asafa shouldn't lose that enough.
I mean, we could apply that to many athletes. Merlin Ottey, Juliet Cuthbert, Grace Jackson. All of them, you could say were
Merlin, Juliet never choked. She got double silver. Grace definitely never choked because a Flojo record beat her. So you can't say that a choke. Merlin choked twice. 1996 200-meter finals. Well, they can't even say that neither. But we call it a choke. Right? And the 1996 Olympics. And that wasn't choke because had she been anywhere but America should have gotten that gold.
I'm still saying that the men did do with what they had.
Thank you very much. They performed at the better than the expectations most had of them.
Better than the expectation for me.
None of us had Chris Taylor. None of us had Chris Taylor making the finals.
Taylor getting to the finals.
None of us had Rashid Dwyer getting to the finals. Yes, we would have wanted Tajid to medal, but we could see that he could barely even come out of the pit. Frederick Dakers is still injured. That 1-3 in the 110 hurdles was phenomenal. Jahil Hyde wouldn't have medaled. None at all in that 4 hurdles had he made the finals. And he clipped the hurdle. That's why he did not make the finals. And came around and ran very good 4x4s. So we can't cuss. Two of our 4x4 men are suffering from injury currently. So you can't say them underperformed. They actually they exceeded most expectations people had of them. What we can say though is that this has not been our best year for men in recent years. But I won't say I'm disappointed. I'm just saying this Olympics gave me hope because of who performed. It gave me hope for the future. That's all I'm saying.
There is great hope that was
Jamaica was just, let me tell you, Jamaica was just happened.
Thank you, Sasibu. Barring injury, yeah. With injury being out, definitely. I would have expected them to medal in the 4x1. They had the potential to have a medal in the 4x1. However,
4-button exchanges.
The exchanges for them was ridiculous. Number one. I saw a post.
She said
something before.
China says she is a victim of trying to please the world. Stephanie McPherson, is she trying to please the world? Would you say that about Stephanie McPherson?
She's trying to please herself.
She's trying to please herself. It's not the world. Let us talk about Stephanie and McPherson. Because
let's go back to Stephanie.
Why I said let us talk about her, I say that because I remember when we spoke about Elaine, you brought up the mentals. You remember when we had a conversation about Elaine, you brought up the mentals?
Yep.
That is a great, Stephanie and McPherson is a great example of the mentals. Stephanie and McPherson is a great example of coaches only doing what they need to do or think they need to do for the athlete to just run and not being cognizant or not trying to take care of the holistic aspect of an athlete. When Stephanie ran that final and did
break up.
Learned the trade.
Hello, we're not here. You are broke up.
For the first time, you could have said, yeah, she knows what she's doing.
Let me say,
when
Hold on,
Stephanie won that final and realized that she did not medal, I don't know if a lot of you heard
On the drugs
Stephanie.
watch now. Who's on the drugs watch? Come and really gone with me now.
Oh, the Italian.
No, but hold on, wait there. But he now come out and make a statement and say, John said, I don't use it and come back, but you're breaking up.
The next Asafa is already here. You say it will be hard to find. Who is Asafa? And who will be, you say, Toya's Kitchen says, hey, John Pett, welcome, Toya. We're struggling with connection issues.
I have connection issue.
So I suppose she's saying that Christopher Taylor is the new Asafa.
No, hell no. Hell no.
Where go out of our world? I know you guys spoke about Stephanie already, but I mean, if a psychiatrist if somebody don't get a hold of Stephanie Ann, she is going to be.
She's on suicide watch. Is that what you're saying, Latoya?
May I put her up on there?
Latoya, and I said it's to Jam.
I've never seen that ever. What she did on the ground, saying that and I have never seen that in my history of watching track and field.
The last person that did that was Bridget. And we understood why. Because that would have been it for Bridget. 2012 was it for Bridget. But Latoya, I want to mention something to you. Because I said this to Jamfet and I said this to the audience. So for the people who are coming in and people that Triangle and CDE want your comments on this. Do you realize that Stephanie has yet to even release a statement?
No, she released a statement. She said, we're done. She's done. She has retired.
Outside of that statement.
Outside of that she said on the track. The three of us are drink something. So me and it's coming like my one are the only one who have the kind night. But aside of that, yeah man, Long Island lemonade. But aside from that, Latoya, she has not even made a social media post. That is not an injured athlete. That is a mentally distraught person that you can't even approach the public.
A psychologist couldn't grab her, make she go on the 4x4. After they have a chance at Netherlands.
Hello, look here. I said it here in the morning that they had placed her in that 4x4, we would have never watched it. Because she was inconsolable. She was inconsolable and beyond recognition. I mean, the whole world would have heard, I'm done. I ran the best 200. Basically, she ran a hard 200. I'm still no medal. That is the pressure she puts on her own self. The expectation she has on her own self, which is good of having expectation. However, she has nobody to be blamed.
And she made an interview. She said it. She said
she has no one to blame but herself. She changed the entire strategy. She ran a great first 200, and I was impressed by her first 200. And I was, yes. When she came down on Shaunae Miller-Uibo, and Shaunae dominated, dismantled, obliterated the child, all she needed to do was just keep her composure, run her race, and continue. The silver medal would have been hers. She destroyed her own self because she didn't have anything else to do, anywhere else to go, anything else to give up. And
That's
she
all,
destroyed herself.
Let us put it into perspective. If she ran the exact same race that she ran in the semifinals, she would have been on the podium with a silver medal around her neck.
Sasha?
Just run the exact same race.
Sassy
No, there's
Diva,
nothing else.
yeah, hello, Sassy Diva. She tricked me. She mad me. She said me go Bellevue and come back. Because
Yeah, man, Shani trick on Milax. Milax will get shorter.
me say, here is Shani Milawibo saying, yo, Shana, come out for the final 200 and Shani come out. Shana come out for 400 and Shani come out and come run that the time of the finals?
Yeah, she ran faster than she ran against Nazir 2 years ago. She tricked the crowd. And for me, that is the heart of a champion. And that is somebody who's been there, done that. And I think, let me tell you.
Right about now, me I tell you, so she deserves to die.
Yeah, but
she deserves
anybody who watched Shani speaks. She was still the favorite, irrespective of what happened with the 200.
Jump fit. That 49-6 never look impressive. Call a speed. Because when we saw
Shani from 2017.
It never look like Shani.
Her first round was impressive. The first round she did in the 200, I said, Shani looks like nothing apart. Then she came out.
No, let me tell you. Let me tell you what people don't understand. Shani, for Shani to be good at that 200, she has to have that kick. When Shani realized, say, Ilian and them girl there have the kick more than she said, listen, I have more strength than kicking on me right now. So she come out to the 200 and jog the 200 final. And save everything that she had for the 400. Because she knows, listen, that 400 meter that she ran was all about strength. That was her just being a 400 runner. Say, catch me if you can, because my legs them strong and my legs them long. Mega beat you know. She knew in that 200 she never had the push.
She was behind Stefia. So Stefia couldn't gauge her strategy of Shani. But I don't know what Stefia was trying. I mean, I don't know if she was thinking about the record in her mind.
That is the problem. Stephanie gauged that 200, that 400 too much. She tried to, she gauged her too hard. That was the problem. The worst thing could have happened to Stephanie was that Shani was on her outside. Because as Shani is 6'2", as Shani's trident is long. Ostrich legs me call she. Because it's just long and maga. Stephanie is 5'8", 5'7", 5'8". Stephanie was trying to keep up with a 6'2" runner who was just pacing herself. She was always going to dead.
I always wonder about these athletes' strategy, especially like you know that you need your strength in the last 150 more than the first. I mean, yeah, okay, you're on the first 100 powerful. All Stephen had to do was just keep her momentum. But
do you know what was Stephanie's race plan in the semi-final? And she said her coach told her, run each 100. Each 100 run, she must run them faster. You know what Stephanie came and did in the final? Blast out the first 200. She did the complete opposite of what she did in the semifinals. The complete opposite. In the semifinal, she ran a conservative first 100, then push a little, and then kick with 150 to go. In the final, what she do? She go out. And we've seen this before from Stephanie. When she goes hard, she don't have nothing.
It was just so obvious.
Stephanie, give away her medal.
Stephanie, give away her medal. Stephanie medals right now? You were saying that they should have put Stephanie into the 4x4? Stephanie mentals right now, no way.
Stephanie would have destroyed that 4x4. She should have destroyed that 4x4. She would have literally made that 4x4 work.
Moreover, in the semifinals, when she got the opportunity to break the national record, she should have broken the national record. She never do that.
Yeah, man,
so therefore, for me, I am all cheering Stephanie say, yo, the national record, I go on, you know. And she come to this, I really want one number 4, I really want one number TV. Box her, some box, should I know she want, should I know she done her now. But I couldn't.
That was the same strategy in the finals.
She should have, baby. She should have. who would it be, JB? JB, after doing that foolishness, more than should have been heartbroken. After doing that I same thing Natalia go do.
Yeah, but the race was after Gold's race, so she should have learned from it.
You see, this is what happens when as an athlete, and it's not just about athletics, it's anything in life.
They could have never put her in the 4x4. Could have never.
In anything in life.
How them put her in a 4x4? She got this somebody run past her, they know a top she tap. Because for the life of me, I don't know why whomever the delegates them in Tokyo feel like so them people come tell me say, oh, she get injured. I don't want to hear that because if you're injured, you're not going up on the ground, you know. Look how much people injured, you know, going up on the ground.
JB said, I think she ran too hard in the semi-final, but in the semi-final,
she should have won too hard in the semi-final. She was well relaxed.
She was relaxed. Essence has joined us.
Welcome, Trey Essence.
JB says poor strategy.
What's poor strategy?
Night triangle. If I'm me attack, I mean name is Clark, you know, with the E at the end. Thank you.
Oh.
So it was poor strategy. It was poor thinking. It was poor mental planning. It was. Put it this way: if Stephanie was supposed to go into that 4x4, which American never did go run very far? Cause the whole of them there, apart from the first leg when Cindy ran 50.0, right? And we understand the first 400 meters you actually run a little bit more, because it's really 405 meters they run for the first 400.
Okay.
Who in the American team they never did go run that far? Cause I know that either they run that far. Me know for a fact that Alison run that far, and if them put her per ankle, Lord God, and I think go turn her in a soup.
And then time should have
everybody would have run that far. So what should I do? Because if them did get her the ankle, she try run down Atin, we lose a medal, you know. That is why they had to call Sherika. Because when they call Sherika, listen, this is what happened, you know. Them say, listen, Sherika, we need experience on the side here. Because they didn't have to. They could have put it Stacey and Williams. They could have put my next girl there, Janelle Bramfield. They could have put, right? But they say, listen, we need the experience on the 4x4 because it's 3 youngsters we are going. When we talk about youngsters, we're talking about championship performance.
No,
3 newbie.
The 3 of them has never won a 4x4 in a championship.
But even first, right?
Time.
And she had to come out and say, all right, I'm going to take one for the team. And you saw it, she ran the fastest leg, but she paced it and gave the anchor, gave her friend Candice McLeod. Yeah.
Sassy said she didn't run, we would have come dead last.
Sassy, I don't know if I dead. Sassy, I don't know if I dead last. I know we that dead. Not even the last, we that see last pan the court. We that dead.
JB, you see what Sherika have? Based on your comment, you see what Sherika have? You can't train for that or buy that. You're born with that, and that is what Stephanie have.
And JB, you have a great point. Mental stability, because she was asked the question, how did you do that? And she said it was the hardest thing. I am no longer a quarter miler. I am a sprinter. Sherika's legs are so heavy.
Right, and people don't understand that to sprint you have to put on more muscle mass.
2 years now. Them muscle, them not.
Sherika is not a 400-meter runner again. If you realize, her physical body has changed as well. She's a lot thicker now. You can look on her and say she's thick.
You're now getting to see the bottom of Sherika is coming out. Better in the black, green, and gold colors, because normally those was the bottom. That is one of the reasons.
The panty show our team.
And so when I was watching, said, "Video Sherika panty." Video panty right there, sir. But sure. But for me though, as I said it to her on our live, and she laugh and come in my inbox, come say, "Lataya, me want you. Don't come back on my live. Don't come back right there, so."
Actually, Natalia, hold on, let me give you a scoop. I have a scoop, guys. Hold on. Jermaine, it's in it, says JB. Just like Bolt, very positive mindset. JB, no, but she still did well. Sassy says it's true, they literally had to lift her off the field. And JB says she come up more. So I asked.
Yeah, man.
JB Shabata. And JB. I'm not hearing Jamfet, I'm not hearing you.
You don't hear me? Let me try it. I invited a few Can you hear me?
Your internet sound like how my internet used to sound like before my switch.
Let me try it.
Would I know such a make a better internet?
JB, I always whisper something, tell you, JB, but don't call my name. Don't call my name. You see, our upper body look more muscular. I have enough butter. But this said about already.
Yeah, man. Oh, God. Holy.
All right, come on. Check it out, guys. Before the pick, and some of the athletes to come and jump in. And only one of them answered something. I didn't invite a lot, but I invited Omar, I invited Nata, but that's how you go. I accepted, but I'm not going to shake one come again. I don't see.
But make sure she not watch. Make sure she not watch me before she come.
Yeah, cause she can't watch you and go and come back on the show.
Make sure she not watch you before she come, cause she watch you, she not go bother walk home.
I mean,
do we have me Bashar?
No. I try to suck up to her because qualifying to 800 finals is not an easy feat for a Jamaican. So,
no, listen.
You can invite Taekwondo Tracy. You will come.
You have the links, Latana. Get the people in that.
What do
I don't want to get the people. You have enough links.
What do you want?
So you have a lot of links and you woman them will answer your board.
I had the opportunity of talking to Taekwondo. I mean, we're close. We're not great friends, but we're close. And I must say, I had to tell him that I'm proud of him because I know where he's.
That's why you're not bashing the men's team. So you're corrupt.
Jermaine, talk to him now. Talk to him, Jermaine.
Don't have to say no.
But it out him. But it out him because I outed him because as much as I knew that he was injured before, the reason why I outed him is because I said it was selfish. Because the fact that you knew it happened, you could have chosen to recruit before.
There was no athletes.
But then
I will leave on one leg, just like one. That's the Olympic game.
But when I catch a Taekwondo at 25, you know, he have another Olympics in him, and it's 3-year time. Taekwondo not old.
I was expecting that.
But you know, one of the greatest thing is he has already done his introspection and know what needs to be done.
Am I going to left him camp? No, he had already left his camp. Sorry, my bad.
He has already left because remember he left MVP, went overseas and came back home. So he's now back home.
I think he's with Michael Fritter them now. Is he?
Yeah.
Titan. Yeah.
And I must say, I for a very new club.
Oh, by the way, for those who don't know, what's his name? Mr. Minzy is also a Titan. Thus, we have seen an improvement in him as well.
Yes.
Watch out for that club. Watch out for that.
So the person we call Mr. Reliable, that I call Mr. Reliable because he has always been so reliable on that leg for us. when he used to run, Michael Frater, he has been doing great things with our athletes. You know, so we have Minzy. I mean, Yuan Blake was training with him in the latter aspect of things. I'm thinking that he now has Taekwondo Tracy, and I think I care about him. Julian Ford. If I not call him care about me, I make bad names sometime.
Why Ford?
Sassy says she should have run her own race and go back whose race, and she will have medal. And JD agrees. I think athletes need to mind their own race and stop worrying about the field. Yes or no?
No, you're going to worry about the field. The problem is you are going to worry about the field, but do you worry about it to the point that it changes your strategy? That's the issue. Because, for example, I don't expect you to allow.
Yeah, because 800 is all time.
Right. I don't expect you to allow.
When they have a race, to be honest.
Right. I don't expect you to allow Atinmu to get away from you too far. Because you know you're not going to catch her back. I don't expect you to allow Shani Miller to run away from you. But what I'm saying is, do not compromise your race strategy that much. And that's the problem. You can't adjust your race strategy. Let me give you a perfect example of someone who has done that before. Genevieve Russell. This year, Genevieve adjusted her race strategy, but she realized, listen, I'm not going to run where Sydney them run. I'm not going to run where Dalila run. I'm not going to run where Femke Bola run. What am I going to do? I'm going to change my race strategy just enough so I can be there. So at worst case, I get a PB. That's what she did.
Candice McLeod did that as well.
Candice McLeod is a perfect example of that. She never changed her strategy to the point where it diminished her. What she did was she made the proper adjustments because she said, okay, I can't allow them to get too far away from me. So she maybe run a little bit faster. Right. So you can adjust your race strategy based on who's in the race. But don't change to the point where you're running 22.7 seconds in a first 200 when you know Shani Miller is there on your right-hand side. That don't make no sense.
Are we going to talk about US team move out everybody and
the rules suggest the US suggest.
I'm talking about the rule. I'm talking about and team number record.
That record would have been hard to break because you have to remember who set that record. Briscoe Hooks with Diane Dixon, and that crop was just phenomenal. But another thing about it was that remember Russia did push them. Russia and Czech Republic did push them. I think it was Russia and Germany, one of them. They pushed them to that record because if you check that American record, I don't remember if that was the race that I don't know if that was the race that the world record was sent or that was an Olympic race. But one of them, if you realize, 1 and 2 was actually very close together. I had this conversation with Diane Dixon the other day through Facebook where I said, because she was a part of that world record 4x40, that American record. And she said one of the things that made them run that record was the fact that they were pushed to the limits. That's why you had 3 women run sub 49. No, if America have a 90-meter lead for everybody, my God, man. It's the same thing with Jamaica breaking that 4x1 record. You have to remember, other than the fact that baton pass wasn't great and it took off some time off of it. By the time Shelly get the button, all Shelly needed to do was say, I just need to get the button to Sherika. Come here, run against the clock. There was nobody else there. So people don't understand that world records, yes, in relays, you have to remember, chemistry is one thing that helps you to break a world record. That's why I said, and I
going to be broken though. That 4x1
I say this, and I was going to that. Jamaica has 2 more bites at the cherry this year and 1 more bite at least 1 more bite at the cherry next year. If there's a world relays, you can say there are 2 more bites at the cherry next year. So there are bites at the cherry, and this 4 ain't going nowhere because I don't see anybody compromising this 4 for the next 2 years.
I think because the world record is in the mind frame, in the mindset of all 4 ladies and of a lot of persons, if possible, and given the opportunity, I think that record will be broken at Brussels. That's just me. I would love it.
I think so too.
I understand the pressure some of our athletes were under. Sherika's mistake was hard to do. It was assistant, but no mistake.
Sassy, we know it wasn't a mistake. We're not gonna drown or throw no more water on Jermaine tonight.
Right.
Sorry, Triangle. But dash water on Jermaine the other night. Him can't take no more.
Alright. There's one.
Triangle, go watch the live there.
There's one. Allyson Felix, greatest of all
time. No. She's the greatest all-round sprinter for now.
No, they're gonna have to. If you say no, you're gonna have to find athletes ahead of her. So
yes, and I can.
No, that's how we said for now.
For now, she's the greatest all-round sprinter. Had Shericka gotten to that 200-meter finals and medals, we'll be having
yeah,
medal. We'd now be having.
Medal team is nothing compared to Allyson. I mean,
no, because let us hold on. Let us.
She would not be anywhere near Allyson.
No, okay. Let us talk about it.
People at track and field, I love track and field having this debate, and I'm like, where is the debate?
No, Jamfet, mega break it down now. So I'm gonna go into the real analytical journey. In her first 2 Olympic Games, right? Her first 2 Olympic Games, Allyson Felix has a total of 3 medals in her first 2 Olympics.
Yes,
one gold. Hold on, 2 silver and 1 gold.
Last year, JB, and next year is her last year at the World Championship.
Hold on. So Allyson Felix had 2 silver and 1 gold medal. And the 2 silver came in the 200 and the gold medal came in the 4x4. That's her first 2 Olympics. In Shericka Jackson's first 2 Olympics, she has 5 medals.
Yeah, but come on, Jimmy.
1 gold, hold on. 1 gold, 1 silver, and 3 bronze. Watch this. Hold on. Right. So here's the breakdown. Shericka Jackson, I believe, at this point, can run faster in a 200-meter than Allyson Felix's personal best of 21:69. Miss that. I believe so.
That is just because you're a fan of Shericka.
No, her form suggests that she can do it.
Look at the track record of Allyson Felix.
No, but that's what I'm saying. No, this
gold, Olympic 200 gold.
No, hold on. That's what I'm saying. Jamfet, let me break it down for you because I think a lot of us are going to talk about it.
I had 200 bronze or silver. She still wouldn't be the same conversation as Allyson.
Actually, she would. She would as one of the greatest all-round, and I'm telling you why. Because had she medaled in the if Shericka Jackson,
I'm talking athlete of all time.
But here's what I'm going to say. If Shericka Jackson had made it to that finals and ran 21:66 and placed second, she would have done something Allyson Felix has never done. She would have an individual medal in all 4 sprints. On top of that, she would have had a faster 100 PB, which she does. If she won 21:68, she would have had a faster 200 PB, and she's just slightly slower in the 400. So she would be fast. Hold on. She would just have been what Shericka Jackson would have been is Shericka Jackson. Hold on now. Shericka Jackson would have been a victim of the time, just like Johan Blake, just like Tyson Gay. Their times coming second would have won everything else. But they just happened to run behind Usain Bolt. If Shericka's 10:76 would have won all but 2 Olympics prior to this year. Remember that. If she had run 10:68, it would have won all but 1 Olympics prior to this year. And she already has a fast 400-meter time. So what I am saying is, if she is fit and she's running well, right? If she had medaled in that 200-meter, we would now be questioning who is the greatest all-round sprinter, Allyson Felix or Shericka Jackson? Because Shericka, if she had medaled in the 200, would have been the only human being to have a medal in all sprints and all relays. Nobody else in history, male or female, has done that. And that would have changed the dynamic. Remember, Allyson Felix has 1 Olympic individual gold medal. Right? Most of her gold medals, 2 came from 4x1, 3 came from 4x4. 1 alone come from an individual event. Sassy, Stephanie had said that, not Stephanie, Shelly had said that it would have been her, this is her last Olympics and next year is her last Worlds. She has backtracked a little, but I don't see her going to the next Olympics. She probably might make another Worlds, but she's not going to the next Olympics. At 37 years old, I don't think she's going to do that, unless she's running 10.7s consistently at 37, and then we can say, all right, maybe. And she'll probably just run the 100, but individually, I don't think she's going to make it. She's going to do that. But yes, Brati, them left me alone. But I would say that we have to give the conversation.
Julian, you're looking at only Olympics performance, I see.
No, but even in World Championships, yes, we know Alison is dominant at the World Championships.
You could say Alison, there would be no Veronica Campbell. Alison would have dominated the 200 as well.
Yeah, but Veronica wasn't running the times that Elaine is running.
She did win both as well. She did beat Veronica in the World Championship.
And Veronica, no, she beat Veronica in the World Championships twice, and Veronica whooped her ass at the Olympics twice. The one time she won a gold medal, Veronica was nowhere near the traditional Veronica. Veronica was 30 years old. Alison Felix was 26. Yeah. Come on, man.
Yeah, but come on. Sherry got the Olympics without the World Championship. You know.
But what I'm saying is not that Sherika doesn't have World Championship medals. Who's to tell? If Sherika wins a gold medal at the 200 meter next year, we probably might be having a different discussion again. Because who's to tell that Elaine going on the 200 at the Worlds next year?
I mean, to say that Sherika, if she had a medal in the 200, would be greater than Alison, is saying that.
I'm not saying that she would be greater. What I'm saying is that the discussion.
The question I asked, greatest of all time, greatest athlete of all time. So
she's not.
Who are you going to crown greatest athlete of all time?
The greatest female sprinter of all, the greatest female athlete of all time doesn't even have to be a sprinter. That's the thing.
Who are you looking at?
Because I am going to say to you, and I wish Latoya was here to hear this. How do like I said earlier, and I know you and I have a disagreement about it, but look at what Sifan Hassan did. That was a killer of a triple. That's not a normal triple.
But she almost.
No, she medaled in all. She medaled in all 3. She won gold in 2. So it was a killer of a triple. That is comparable to anything anybody else has done when it comes to performance. So you're going to question that. Elaine going back-to-back double-double. Do you not put her in the conversation? Shelly-Ann Fraser being the only female to medal in 4 consecutive sprint events. You don't put her in that conversation as well? So the conversation deepens. You know, who is the greatest? Because the thing about it is, both Shelly and Felix is at the end of their careers. Shelly is still a gold medal. Shelly is still a gold medal favorite. Alison isn't.
Yeah, but
Shelly can go total.
Alison could say that she came off injuries and a child. I mean, if Alison got a bronze in the 400 meters, I would clearly could say that it's harder to get a bronze in the 400 than.
No, not when the field is this week. Not when the field is this week. Alison is 2 years off of having a baby, or 3 years off of having a baby.
Alison is 35 years old.
Good. No, but what I'm saying is this. Alison is 3 years off of having a baby. Shelly-Ann Fraser, 2 years off of having a baby, was a world championship gold medalist, and it wasn't even close.
You said that 400 is harder than the 200.
It is, but what I'm saying is,
so that argument,
even at the end of but what I'm saying is, even at the end of their career, Alison is I won't say she's barely hanging on.
35-year-olds have run sub 50.
Many.
Who?
How many? 35. Valerie Briscoe Hooks has done it. Quite a few of them have run sub 50. Christina Horrigal has done it. What's the next girl? Right. Quite a few have. True, but so was many others, but we don't cost them. But
Germany. She has one more world championship and then Diamond League says triangle. I don't know if you're talking about Shelly. I think if Shelly is still running sub 11, she'll still be in and thereabouts.
I say if by the next Olympics she's still.
She said that her body is still responding.
Right. If in 3 years time, Shelly is running 10-7, why wouldn't she go for another Olympics? You get what I'm saying?
In 3 years time, there's gonna be Brianna Williams who will be faster.
John Fett, only need to stop like said 10-7 at baby time. 10-7 is at time. If Shelly is running 10-7s.
But 3 years is also a long time in athletics.
True. Even Elaine may not even make a Jamaica team in 3 years. We don't know.
I mean, look at Tina Clayton 11-1 and she's not even 17. Not saying that she will make the transition, but you know, in 3 years' time, Elaine might not even make it.
But what I'm saying is, if Shelly is running 10-7 in 3 years' time, 10-7 is not a baby time. She's going to say, okay, I can make another team.
And I also think 3 years go by fast. In the same way, it's a long time. If she's injury-free, I don't see why she might not even make a relay team.
And that's what I'm saying. Even in 3 years' time, a relay team, if she's running 10-7, 10-8, she definitely is on a relay team.
So JB says, who is the greatest then? Jermaine is not calling it JB Natural. He's
all right, let me say this.
Shericka Jackson. Have you ever heard anything as ridiculous?
I am not. Hold on. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying Shericka is the greatest.
Conversation.
I am not saying that Shericka is the greatest. What I am saying is she has the potential to be crowned the greatest all-round sprinter of all time. A quality 200-meter race and a medal in the 200-meter at an Olympics puts her in that category. Because, like I said, she'd have done something that nobody else has done. I never said Shericka is the greatest of all time. The greatest of all time for me.
Many of them have done things many others haven't done. I mean, you could say Shelly Fraser has a shout at that title. Because nobody
hold on, and I have Shelly as the greatest of all time at this point.
Double. But yes, but Shelly does have a question mark as well.
What question mark is Shelly's question mark? Medical pain medication?
Shelly was banned for substance use.
Shelly was banned for taking a pain medication that had she written it on the paper she wouldn't have been banned for. That nobody puts that as a
yeah, but I'm just saying that will always be there.
Nobody talks about it. Jump it. Only Americans talk about that. Nobody nowhere talk about that. Nobody not chat about that. Nobody talks about that.
Do you know the great Jamaica versus America rivalry in the YouTube groups, in the Facebook groups? They do mention that. But I think
because we.
But Shelly is.
But at this point,
I hang on. I did a poll on my website, and I asked who was the Jamaican sprint queen, and I had Veronica Campbell, Marlene Ottey, Shelly Fraser, and Elaine Thompson. So Shelly got 36% of the votes. Marlene got 33%. Elaine Thompson got 24%, and VCB Marlene Ottey.
All right, I am going to say something that will crumble. Everything, probably Jam Vet going to get crumble. We know a lot of persons going to get crumble. I have Marlene Ottey as number 4 Jamaican all time.
You are out of your mind.
I just say it a while ago, I'm going to go crumble, but I have her as number 4.
21.64 national record for how many years?
It doesn't matter. I have her number 4 at all time. Because the reality about the other 3 persons, I have Shelly 1, VCB 2, Elaine 3, and Elaine will move directly from number 3 to number 1 if she wins a world title next year. Because that's the only thing that's missing from her. If Elaine can win a world title,
but Ottey could claim.
Let me tell you what. Let me tell you. No, let me tell you what. No, she can claim a lot, but let me tell you what makes. Let me tell you what puts Marlene at number 4. What do all of those 3 have that Marlene don't have?
An Olympic gold medal.
at least two
But
Olympic
you have to look at the
individual gold medals.
Why are
Circumstances are no circumstances.
33% crowning Merlin as the real spring queen?
Because people are emotionally centered. We will have that, just like how we have an emotional connection to Veronica, and just like how we have an emotional connection to Asafa. Asafa Powell is the 4th greatest Jamaican sprinter of all time, but we will always have him up there. Why? Because we have an emotional connection to him.
You can't just make those statements without justifying them. So who are the 3 ahead of Asafa? I suppose
you're
going to say
ahead of Asafa. You're saying both Johan Blake and Donald Quarry.
But Quarry doesn't have
those
a
100 ahead of him. But he has a 100 silver in the Olympics and a 200 gold. And he has a 100-meter gold from every other thing else that was running at the time. Because there was no World Championships at the time that he was running. He has a Pan Am gold. He has a Commonwealth gold in the 100. He has a there was another cup that was going around at the time. He has that. So he has it, and he's been doing it from a junior level. So
yeah, I mean, really didn't win the gold. She lost twice.
And that for me, she lost 3 times because she should have beaten Marie Jose Perec. She should have beaten Perec.
Come on, she was 37 at that championship.
She was 36 and still in very good shape because she ran her PB in the 100.
Yeah, but we were talking about emotions and all of that earlier. Losing twice to a photo finish is not easy.
True, but the others have 2 individual gold medals at least. Right. Each of them have won back-to-back Olympic golds in an event. Right. You can't discredit that. You can't put somebody who has never done that.
Except
no.
In the 200, she has gone faster.
In 200, she has gone faster than
and without the magic spikes. Without the magic spikes.
Oh, come on, let's be real. Come on, man. Elaine would have, even without the magic spikes, Elaine would have broken that national record. Elaine wasn't just that good a shape. She wasn't that good a shape. Yes, I have. Hello, I have watched a lot of Merlin Ottey, even as a youngster coming up. I have watched a lot of, and let me say this. First of all, Merlin has an awful start, so that caused her a lot of medals. That caused her a lot of medals, but she has great top end. We're not discrediting that. But what I am saying is, the reality when it comes down to it, to the nitty gritty, we are going to look at their accomplishments, and we're going to say, when it comes to the greatest, what makes they're going to be a generation. There is a generation currently that really don't know who Merlin Ottey is.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So when you look at it through the accomplishments, we're going to say if you're supposed to put them side by side, we're going to say the greatest Jamaican sprinters of all time. You're going to look and you're going to see World Championship and Olympic titles for Shelley. You're going to see World Championship and Olympic titles at all levels for Veronica. You're going to see the double for Elaine. And then you're going to see a bunch of silver and bronze medals for Merlin.
You're also going to see 5 Olympics. You're also going to see a double in 200 meters for Ottey. You're also going to see people like Flojo and Marita Koch ahead of her in the Olympics.
Yeah, but also you want to know the names of people who have finished ahead of her? Sorry? Do you want to know the names of people who have finished ahead of Merlin? I'll take out Marita Koch, take out Perec, take out Flojo. Gwen Torrance has finished ahead of her. Evelyn Ashford has finished ahead of her. Grace Jackson, her compatriot, has finished ahead of her. Juliet Cuthbert, her compatriot, has finished ahead of her. We're talking a numerous amount of people has finished ahead of her.
Yeah, but you're talking
so it's not
major championship. Look at the circuit.
Even at the circuit, she
has won more races than any other individual, man, female.
But if we're talking circuit, then Asafa Powell needs to be in the same category as both. But that's not the case. Who dominated the circuit like Asafa Powell, especially for the first 5 years?
Yeah, but Asafa nobody. So he has a show.
But there's 2 Jamaicans that have run faster, and there are 2 Jamaicans who's run faster than anything he's ever run.
Yes.
Right? So what I'm saying is that your accomplishments, as time goes by, people will achieve more. All right, why is it that we consider Michael Jordan the greatest athlete? It's not just that he's won, because Bill Russell has won more trophies. He was just that dominant in a more difficult era, and he won, and he stopped people from eating food. Merlin Ottey was in an era that we know is dominated by drugs, but she came close and never won, even by people who weren't taking drugs. Veronica Campbell Brown,
except for Gwen Torrance, all of the others have question mark.
Merlin has a question mark as well.
Yeah, but it was thrown out. You can't crucify somebody after.
But most of them haven't been caught either. Flojo hasn't been caught.
Fraser wasn't thrown out. She served her time.
Shelly-Ann Fraser,
not the same thing.
Shelly-Ann Fraser was because of a pain medication. Veronica Campbell's own was thrown out. It does matter.
Yeah, but she did serve her time. Merlin had hers overturned because it was esteemed that her body produced it naturally.
It is JB, let me answer. Oh, Triangle, what you say? You never know. JB, let me answer your question.
What do you think about men? We don't have a lot of players in the very track events. We need men with speed, and also we need men for the 4x4. The same men in the 4x1 and also in the 4x4. I thought the men underperformed. Jermaine thought that they were big winning winners of the Olympics. So he's gonna explain himself.
All right. The reason why I say that is obviously because they did more than we had expected. For the 4x4 for men, let me answer this for the relays and what's coming up. We have to remember this. Nathan Allen is still injured. Akeem Bloomfield is off this year. Chris Taylor is coming into some level of fitness. We have the likes of Oblique Seville and Javon Lindsay. We can look to the likes of Taekwondo Tracy when he's fit. We can look to the likes of what's his name? Jazeel Murphy's coming back. We have we have Nigel Ellis, who is thereabout, who should be getting better. So there are people coming. I have said that I do believe that Chris Taylor should drop, and I still believe he should drop distances to the 1 and 2, but run enough 400s to make him available for a 4x4. Because I do believe a 4x4 with Chris Taylor, Akeem Bloomfield, Nathan Allen, and maybe Demish Game, maybe Bartley, maybe Sean Bailey, all at their best, is a threatening team to the Americans. I want Chris Taylor to drop down because Javon Francis is a little bit older, so I don't know. But Javon Francis is still there as well. With the 4x1s, I do believe Chris Taylor should drop and run that backstretch on the 4x1. I think he could be our male Allyson Felix, basically. Because let's be real, if you go on YouTube and type in Christopher Taylor National Junior Record or Christopher Taylor 100 meter, you will realize that Christopher Taylor has an immaculate 100 meter. Great start, great dry phase, great top end, and that is his only competitive 100 meter race, and he tied the national junior record at age 18. I think if he drops down with the 400 meter strength he's been given, he would do wonders on the 400 and the 200, in the 100 and 200, as well as a good backstretch. I do believe also Akeem Bloomfield with his 200 meter speed can run the 4x1 with the teams that we're going. So it is something to look for in the future. You can just look at it and find out.
The natural fun says there's a lot of criticism about Flojo's time. And if you remove Flojo's time from the books, Ottey would have held both 100 and 200 meter world records.
No, actually she wouldn't have, because it would have belonged to Marion Jones and then Carmelita Jeter.
No,
currently.
Marion Jones after.
Okay, yeah, at the time she'd have probably had, no, she wouldn't have had the 200. I think there was somebody who's run faster than her.
Yeah,
somebody who ran faster than her.
Marita Koch.
Yeah, Koch.
Come on, Marita Koch.
Right. But put it this way: if you remove Flojo from the world record books, if you remove Flojo from the record books, Elaine Thompson would be the world record holder in both the 100 and 200. So let's put it that way. So I do believe that the future is bright. Let us also we have been spoiled by the fact that I said that Jamaica had a golden era of male athletes, right? And we accept that, but every team goes through transitions, right? The US had to.
He is fast. He can drop from to the 200 and the 100.
Yes. Like I said before, JB, like I said before, he was actually the fastest man at Calabar, 100, 200, and 400. But because they had so many good 100-meter sprinters, and he was undoubtedly the class of the 400 field, he ran 4.2. But the reality is, he really is he's amazing at the 100, and he knows it. You know, they say he used to compete with 100 men and say him can outdo them. So he'd finish 400 training and go beat Dejo Russell and Michael Stevens and Tyreek Wilson, and then go back to doing 400 training. That was him. He was that much better than them. And it shows you run one 100-meter race and you tie the national junior record in with one competitive race. Come on, that means that had he been running the 100 and training for it, he probably would have run sub 10 by the time he was 18.
Yeah.
You know, just like how he ran sub 45 by when he was 17. You understand? So he really is that fast. But the men, it's promised for the future, because not only that, you have to look at the ages. Oblique Civil is 20, Chris Taylor is 21. So most of these guys are pretty young for the most part. They're pretty young. Give them some time. You really
untouchable for now. This comedy says, hey guys, hey John, welcome to this comedy.
JB, I don't believe Flojo times are untouchable. It is looking more and more realistic that they will be broken sooner than later.
How much time you thought? I watched the race and I don't think that's much time with their hand race, to be honest. What do you think?
It's not the hand. All right, I think had she not raised the hand and run through the tape, she would have gone 10:59. But then I also calculate she was running into a headwind. And if you split that headwind and turn, just give the wind 100-degree, a 180 flip, you're going 0.6 tailwind, which is a positive wind.
Right.
With she running the race completely, you're looking at probably 10.52. Then all of a sudden, you start now saying to yourself, hold on, after 3 rounds, 10.52, you start thinking 10.49 is acceptable. There was somebody who did something on it and said, if Elaine had a 1.3 meter per second tailwind, right, which is what Shelley ran the 10.63 in, if Elaine had that win and ran through the tape, Elaine's time would have been 10.48, 10.47.
Or she might have dropped.
Right? So
At that speed. He needs to transition. Why can't he do the sprint? I think it's for judgment. You know, that's a coach's call.
I think it's his call. And the reason why I also encourage him for doing the sprint is his asthma. You can see after the 400s that running against the big boys, like I said, this is not champs anymore. He's running against guys who are running sub 44. It's taking a toll on him physically. I think if he drops down, he doesn't have to expend that much, and he'll be thereabout. Trust me.
Somebody's putting money on Usain Bolt's daughter to break the world record.
Olympian broke the world record, man. If Shelly and you both did have a baby, like if them take out Shelly egg and both sperm and make a baby, then now we then now we'll be having a conversation. But yeah, I do believe that that team is going to be. That team is. I think we have something to look forward for in the future, right? And it's something that we need to just be positive. Yes, we had a bad run. We had a not so usual Jamaican run this term compared to what we had in the last three Olympics, but we also have hope for the future, and that is something that we need to also look at. We do have great hope for the future.
Space, unlike the men, they have women coming up who will take over.
But remember this: the times from champs haven't dropped. The boys are still running very fast. And here's the next thing that I need you guys to understand. There is something I need you guys to understand. What we saw in the sprints with the Usain Bolt era, we won't see that again for Jamaica. We won't have that dominance. We will have guys who are medal contenders. We'll have guys that can win the gold, but we won't have that dominance, that polarizing figure. But we need to not just look at the sprints. Look at what is happening in the hurdles. Jamaica has the deepest sprint hurdle pool in the world, I believe, at this point in time. Right? And Hans Parchment said it himself, and I think Hubert Lawrence said it a few years ago. He said, the hurdles are going to be for us in the future what the sprints are now. And you can see that. Remember, we got bronze and gold in the 110 hurdles, and yet still our two fastest hurdlers weren't even at the Olympics. You understand? Our two fastest hurdlers weren't at the Olympics. As well as you can look at the for the females, our fastest hurdler or national record holder didn't even make the team, but we copped bronze, and we have a 20-year-old who just ran the fastest time for a 20-year-old over the sprint hurdles. Come on, man, we in good stead. We have to look beyond that. We see the field events coming up where we have the likes of Shanika Ricketts, and we're going to be seeing more people doing well. Tajay Gale doing the long jump and being a world dominant long jumper. We have the throws. Look at it. We sent 3 men to the Olympics, and there was a Jamaican in the finals, and he wasn't even our best discus thrower, right? We had a woman in the finals for the discus throw, Sade Lawrence. That's also a big win, and I think she finished 6th overall. We have Danielle Thomas Dodd, who didn't have an impressive year like she usually does, but is roughly round where the elites are when it comes to shot put for women. So Jamaica, as I said, we have Natoya Gould in the 800. You might see a Kemar Farquharson in the 800 in years to come. So because Kemar Farquharson has run sub 48 as a junior for the 800 meters, sub 148. So you're looking and seeing that there's a proliferation of you're looking and you're seeing that Jamaica is more rounded. It was just the sprints, but now you're seeing the hurdles, the field events. You're seeing all this, and let us talk about it. We have a crop of female 4 hurdlers like a Cheyenne Salmon, like all these girls who are running the 4 hurdles are doing very well. The males are coming up as well. So we have to stop thinking, okay, it's just 100 and 200. It's not going to be the case. The women probably going to carry the flag for the 100, 200 for a while, but the scope is getting broader, and that's what we want. What we want to see now is that the amount of Rockstone Jamaica throw more and board the whole thing off of people. We need 2 javelin throw in the thing and 2 amateur, you understand? But it's mostly because of resources. But we're seeing these things. The long jump, the triple jump, we're bringing in people into them. And let us be real, Shanika Ricketts is locally trained. Tajay Gale is locally trained. Frederick Dakers, Travis Michael are locally trained, and these are field eventers, right? So just stop thinking 100, 200. As I said, we will have guys in the 100 and the 200 who will be medal contenders and will be thereabout. We just won't have Usain Bolt again, and it's okay. It's okay. It's perfectly fine.
JD says this Olympics is providing insights on the future. Can you imagine if Omar McLeod was there? We need to scout and get the track and field event, meaning identify more talent. I think that's what she is.
And here's the thing about it. I do say as well. Some of the guys who are in high school or are in class 1 and are running 100s and not getting the greatest times, nothing wrong for switch them over to the hurdles or switch them over to the long jump, because you need speed in those events. I said this and I've said it before and I'll say it again. Michael O'Hara made a bad decision when he chose to run the 1 and 2 as a professional. Michael O'Hara was technically one of the best sprint hurdlers Jamaica had, and he should have focused on that. He probably would have been in the Olympic finals. No, because that 3 years he would have spent focusing on the hurdles, and he would have been thereabout. You understand? So that's another thing. We have others that we can look to, and we just have to look upon them and say, oh, it is not just limited anymore. We're not limiting anymore, and we're producing greatness in other events, and that nothing wrong with that. Right? So we have to be looking like that. No, JB, when I say investment, I'm talking about, I mean, we have guys who can do high jump in Jamaica. We jump enough fence and enough tall gate for no say we can produce a couple high jumper. You understand? We just need it. We don't. Most schools don't have a mat, a high jump mat, and a pole. The pole vault is another event we can invest in. We have a lot of guys with a lot of upper body strength that could do the pole vault, but we don't have the resources. The javelin, another one, we don't have the resources. The hammer throw, another one, we don't have the resources. It just comes down to resources. And if you check most of our throwers, look at where they're coming from. All three guys that went to the Olympic final, to the Olympics in the discus are Calabar Old Boys. And the next up and coming Kai Chang is a Calabar Old Boy. You know what I'm saying? The same thing with the discus and the shot put for the women. If them don't go foreign, they're coming from Edwin Allen. You get me? So it's just about dispensing, but we see that there's a change and changes are coming. And we just have to stop thinking 100, 200 now. I think Jamaica has passed that stage of just thinking 100, 200. The shift is happening. And we just need to accept it. And like I said, our deepest pool right now is the sprint hurdles, men and women. The sprint hurdles is phenomenal. And it's something I'm looking for years. Like I said, we got 2 medals in the Olympic finals, and our 2 fastest hurdlers in the world weren't even there. Our 2 fastest hurdlers this year weren't even there. And we got gold and bronze. Jahil Hyde would have had a problem in the 110 hurdles strictly because I'm short. That's it. I think the 4 hurdles was a good move. I think what happened with Jahil was that he did not have the mental capacity early enough to transition from junior to senior. He was dominant as a junior. The hurdle height is the same as junior hurdles, So it's not that he wasn't running well. He ran 48.4 as a 17-year-old. And him just ran 48.1 as a 21-year-old. At 21 or however old he might be. I think he's older than that too. But yeah, he ran 48.4 as a 17-year-old. So he was always good at the long hurdles. And he ran 46.5 as a 15-year-old over 400. Right? So the sprint hurdles was actually an accident for Jahil. He was always a 4 hurdle, a 400 meter. He just has great technique, and that's why it works. The problem was that between injuries and his mental state, everybody just caught up to him. For example, he was whooping the hell out of McMaster when McMaster was a junior. But then I guess he just caught up. And yes, we're winning medals, but you realize that the scope is changing. Yes, the men's sprint hurdles is changing because Hansa changed that. First it was Maurice Wignall and Dwight Thomas, and then Hansa came around and went one step further than they did by getting a medal, and then getting another one, and then Omar came around and started to win, and then we saw that there are more guys going to it, because remember, we still have the likes of Tyler Mason, who is the 2nd or 3rd fastest junior of all time. We have Orlando Bennett, we have Vassiano, who is now going into college. Vassiano is one of the best junior hurdlers I think technically I've ever seen. So the hurdles is good, and we still have Dejo Russell. So there's a good, I guess a lot of them are just transitioning into that event, and it's just coming up, and we'll just see what go on. But there is a future ahead for us. There is a future ahead for us. And it's going to take time. Tajay Gale now doing so well in the long jump. You're going to see a lot of guys move over to the long jump. Because I think a guy like Wayne Pinnock needs to choose whether he's doing Wayne Pinnock has the ability to be a world-class hurdler and a world-class long jumper at the same time. And I think if he continues, he could probably do the double in both of them. Yeah. Just like how people do the 100 and the long jump hurdle double, he can probably do the sprint hurdle and the long jump double, and it wouldn't affect his technique. Why? Because with the hurdle you have to jump, with the long jump you have to jump, right? So you still are using jumps, and that's why he was so good as a junior doing both events. And I think he can make the transition. We see what happens. His collegiate season begins later this year. He did mostly rehabilitation last year. So we'll see what happened with him. But he's another one that can take on that unique double, the 110 hurdles and long jump double, and do very well at it. So we're seeing there's a shift. Kerry McLeod is another one Kerry McLeod is another one who did well this year at the collegiate scene in the long jump and the triple jump. He qualified with the Olympic standard in both the long jump and triple jump, which not a lot of men have done recently. And you just have to look on him and go, okay, this is another one. So we're seeing the transition happening where people are saying, you know what? All right, I can't sprint as fast as the rest of them on them. I'm going to hurdle or I'm going to do the long jump, you know? And so there's a transition happening. We just need to look at it and realize it's what it is.
I'm not sure who she's referring to. Russell need to lose some weight, says JB, and Vassiano is good.
No, man, Vassiano is, when I look at Vassiano, and I'm not giving Casey any credit for this, because it's from Jago days. Vassiano is a more technically gifted version of Grant Holloway. We can say that out loud. Because Vassiano has run 10-2. Vassiano has run 10-2 in the 100 meters flat at class 2.
Yeah.
So that is a big thing, right? So we'll see what happens, right? So he's technically gifted. He's very gifted as a hurdler.
All right, so I have some categories, and we're going to end. Natalia is not here, but you're going to tell me athlete. It doesn't have to be a Jamaican. All right, so first one, most improved.
Most improved Femke Ball from the Netherlands, 400-meter hurdles.
And for Jamaica?
For Jamaica, the most improved athlete, obviously, Shericka Jackson.
Okay.
That's not even a question.
But she improved before the Olympics, though.
Yes, but still, the Olympics is the test. So let me tell you why I would have put Candice there. Because at the end of the day, Shericka got that medal. That's what it comes down to. She beat everybody else for the most part and got that medal, right? And ran her PB in the finals.
Yeah. Most disappointing.
Natalia Gould.
More than McPherson?
Yeah, because regardless of anything, McPherson still finished fourth. Yeah. Natalia Gould finished last when everybody had her to medal. She finished dead last.
Most exciting prospect for 2022 World Championship?
Most exciting prospect, it's a tie between Brittany Anderson and Oblique Civil. For Jamaica, that is, yeah. Between those two.
All right. Athlete of the games.
Athlete of the games, from the male side, I have to go Warholm.
Okay, definitely.
From the female side, I said this already. It's a tie for me between Elaine and Sifan Hassan.
The race you're most looking forward to at the Diamond League, the next Diamond League.
That is easy. Easy.
The expected revenge race.
100-meter woman. That's easy. Because Sha'Carri would actually be in that race, and we'll see what she would put down with the big girls. Granted, I don't expect much from the Jamaicans because the hangover. They've accomplished what they want to, right? So anything now versus Sha'Carri, who's going to actually try to prove a point, they've already proved their point. So it really loses a lot of its luster because they've done what they needed to do, and right now the season is just making some money and enjoying the rest of the season. But you still want to see, would they come out, and if they do come out, what would they want to do? Would they want to just embarrass her?
For the one-off race. Maybe
for a one-off, I think right now, Elaine. Because I think she wants to go faster than 10:61 desperately. I think she just wants to put the time out of the books. Like say, okay, I'm going to run a time when I know none of them are catching no time soon.
Athlete you think should retire now?
Stephanie Ann McPherson.
Even though she ran a PB?
I think she's just mentally shot and she's never going to get a better opportunity. Never. I can see Natalia Gould working and improving because remember, for the last 5 years, Natalia has been thereabout. Right? It's just that this was her best chance to get a medal, but she's always been fourth, fifth, whatever. I can see her coming back into that kind of category. But I think Stephanie's just mentally shot, and she almost retired already. So call it a day.
All right. And which athlete you subscribe to since the game started? That you weren't following before?
That I wasn't following before. Overall, there are four of them. There is Gabby Thomas, Sydney McLaughlin, Julian Fort, and I'm trying to remember the next one that I went to. The next one I went to was Femke Ball. No, Christian Warholm, sorry.
Jamie asked me when is World Relays and when is World Championship.
World Championships is next year around the same time in Eugene, so it's in our backyard basically. So that's the World Championships. I think the World Relays, they had one this year. It was supposed to be last year, so I don't know if they're going to have another one next year. If they do have another one next year, then they should be okay. But the World Relays should have been last year, but COVID kind of mashed up that. So maybe they have one next year. I'd wonder, ask me what's my biggest surprise of the Olympics?
Yeah, I'm going to ask you that. And, you haven't said anything about Team Bahamas. So give me the biggest surprise in Team Bahamas.
My big Team Bahamas, they won what I expected them to win. I knew a fit Shawnee was going to win the 400. I knew that. Once she was fit, she was going to win. And I already had Stephen Gardner was my pre-Olympic favorite for the 400, based on what he did 2 years ago and the fact that he's probably the one person that hasn't dropped off for him. My surprise of the Olympics, I think everybody has the same surprise. Men's 110 hurdles, Grant Holloway losing that. It's not a surprise as the Olympics got going and you started to hear what was going on and you saw Hansel, but I think if there was a medal that you were going to put around somebody's neck in the sprints, that would have been the one. And he choked, basically.
Triangle is still waiting on your gold medal, John. Triangle, you know, see my video where I've gone Papa. It has 3,000 views in 24, not even 24 hours yet. So I'm going for the gold medal again. Sha'Carri, what's your take on her? I'd love to hear your views. JB Natural. I like her confidence. I don't like anything else.
I have nothing about her. I have no problem with her attitude. People like that I love. That arrogant, brash, cocky person. I love. Yeah, I thought I could have used with a little bit of that. My problem with Sha'Carri is you realize that since the Jamaicans have been running fast, she's been very quiet.
But she says it's because of her they're running fast.
No, she said that earlier, but right now, all right, let us put it into.
She started something last week asking if the people then missed her.
If they missed her. And that was a reference to the American team. Because let's be real, had she been in that Olympic final, maybe she wouldn't even have medaled. Because those Jamaican girls were going to go faster. Could have gone faster. Let's be real. But I like her confidence. I'm just saying that for me, the real showdown is next year Worlds. Because if you understand how Jamaicans train, they train for championships. So anything that she does now, anything that she does now, if she even goes out there and runs fast and runs very fast, it's always going to be, but could you have done that after 2 or 3 rounds and would you still have won? Because now the fast times, because let's be real, she ran 10:72 in April and never ran that fast again all year. Now she's well rested, don't get me wrong. She's well rested. She's had 2.5 months off. So she's good to go. But
Team Jamaica to the world. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it might be a year too early for her, but we'll see. She's going to be ready for it.
The problem about it for me is this. Sha'Carri will never have dominance over the event because of her timing. She's coming when Shelly is still running at her best and Elaine is at her best. And by the time both of them kind of ease off and she gets to about 24, 25, there's a young crop of girls who are just as quick as her gunning for her. So that dominance that a Shelly would have experienced or even an Elaine would have gotten, Sha'Carri probably has 1 Olympics of being a dominant force in her, and we're not even sure if she's going to be the dominant force. So,
but she has the fingernails, so
we'll see what happens. Yeah, finger. And Shelly and Elaine have the week them, so
all right,
the week them win all then.
Well, guys, there you have it, our Olympics recap. I don't know if you agree with us, but you can leave the comments inside the chat, outside the chat, I should say. That's the impact. That's it, we're done. That's the impact. Thank you again to my super chatters, Sassy J, Himala's Kitchen. Thank you so much. She's too arrogant. Speaking of Shakari, says Jaden. I like some of the arrogance.
I like it too. I like it. I like some of the arrogance.
Definitely. All right, guys. So we're talking. The Paris Diamond League is the 28th of August. I don't know what the lineup is going to be, but there is a 110 hurdles for men, and there's a 100 meters for women.
And Eugene is actually Eugene is the 21st of August.
Right, so Eugene will definitely get there.
Yeah, but we are still waiting on the lineup because according to what I'm hearing, the lineup should have included the 3 that medaled plus Shakari, but Shakari may not run as well as Elaine may not run. So we don't know what's going to happen.
Okay. So, all right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jermaine.
You're most welcome.
And we'll be back for the what you call it, Diamond League.
Yeah, man. We'll be back for the Diamond Leagues because the season gets underway next week.
All right.
All right. So thank you, guys. And big up to all the people who are saying that I actually sound like a broadcaster. Big up on yourself. Maybe take it up one day.
Definitely. We should have Grace Jackson have nothing for you.
Grace Jackson have nothing for nobody.
They need to change that woman who interviewed the kids at Champs. It is not good.
Oh, yeah. True.
Like, I'm afraid when she talk, like she's going to make some mistake or her question is so hard.
I know. But anyway, people, it has been great. We can kind of finally get some sleep now and stuff like that. So big up to all of y'all and thank you very much for having me here. And much respect. And I guess we'll see you when the Diamond League returns and where with stuff returns.
We're gonna sign them contracts soon, guys.
Okay, so no, say no more.
All right, guys, thank you so much. This was